Greetings, welcome. Oh, what's up, Steve? Welcome. Hello, everyone. Oh, what's up, Steve? Welcome. You guys let me know if my audio is good. I think it's pretty decent right now. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Rodney. Hello, Sparks. Welcome back, Mitch. First of all, I want to show you guys, I cleaned my room just for you guys. Look. A clean office, ladies and gentlemen. No cleaning service necessary. I even lit a candle just for you guys, just for the atmosphere. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, guys. Oh, cost me about an hour of my time. It's not a LED candle, it's a real candle. Real fire. No tricks here. Yeah, and I also adjusted the lighting setup. You guys let me know what you think of that. No, my wife didn't make me do it. I made her do it. Kidding. I did it all by myself, like a grown-up. So I got some pretty cool stuff planned for today's live stream. Glad you guys could make it. If you could, hit that like button for me, just because I forgot to say that last time, and apparently that's a pretty important thing to making a live stream successful. So I would appreciate it if you could hit like real quick. That'd mean a lot, but I'm not going to pester you about it. I'm going to wait till about a couple more minutes before we get into the videos for today, so we can just hang out and chat. Dominaire says hi from Everett, Washington. Third rock from the sun. Milky Way galaxy, the universe, reality 42. That's a good reference. Hitchhiker's Guide is a fantastic book. And it's actually one of the few books that was translated well into a movie, in my opinion anyway. Lord of the Rings is up there, but a lot of missing stuff. Neck tattoo, it's a symbol for theta, golden ratio. When I was younger, I was very much into, I guess, I don't know, I would say sacred geometry, but I really wasn't informed enough to even say that that's what it was. But that's how I ended up with the tattoo anyway. I had a fantastic 4th of July. I spent it with the family. We swam in an above ground pool that I bought recently that may have been a terrible financial decision, but we will see. And then we shot some fireworks. I have 2 young kids, so it was fun just to have fun through them. Thank you for all the likes, everyone. I really appreciate that, and I think it really does help. So thank you so much. All right, well, let's go ahead and just jump into today's stream. By the way, I got your chat up on the screen now, so if you guys watch this video later, you'll be able to see when you said something. So I posted this yesterday and basically asked for some people to submit some videos. Thomas, I'll say that above ground pools are certainly a better investment than in ground pools. Oh yeah, Mitch, thank you very much. I totally forgot to mention that too. I had considered waiting for a while. Let me just go back to the face cam. I had considered waiting for a while to turn on super chats and donations and stuff like that, and it wasn't on in the last stream, but since you guys asked for it, I mean, I will turn it on. Don't feel obligated to give me your money, but if you If you want to, I'll take it. It'll all go to my video editor probably. So Darren says we had an above ground pool that was gone in 2 years. Yeah, I'm expecting the same thing to happen with my pool, to be honest. I don't know if it's going to be worth what I spent on it, but thank you again, Mitch. I really appreciate that. And I love you too, brother. Thank you for supporting ATA. It wouldn't be what it is without you. Okay, getting back to this. So we had a couple people post some videos for me to take a look at, but first I wanted to give you guys a bit of an update. So first of all, shout out to BPcast for breaking this story. This is where I originally heard of the story, and I had in the script to give him a special shout out, and I don't know what happened, but somewhere in between the script being written and sent to the editor and back, and it just got cut out somehow. I'm guessing that's my fault because I'm the one that ultimately does the quality edit and makes sure that the script is how it should be before it goes to the narrator. So that's probably my fault, but I figured I could at least give him some credit here. So this is the original video. Well, not the original. The original is actually on Rusty's channel, but this is where the story first got some some attention. And of course you can see right here that, and I'm sure if you saw the ATA episode, that this guy missed his daughter's graduation over a complete bullshit DUI arrest. But I do have some good news about that, which is that his fundraiser is now at $37,000. Thank you, Team Valor. Much appreciated, brother. Thank you. That means a lot. Anybody, I mean, it's crazy that people are even donating money to me of all people right now. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. So he started a GoFundMe. Before I covered this video, and again, look, I don't want to say, I'm not trying to take credit for this, because, or not alone. I wasn't the only one who covered this. Obviously, BPcast had talked about this before me. But prior, when I covered the video, he had raised about $6,000. So I'd like to think that at least like 30 grand of that came from you guys. And as a matter of fact, he posted this update, which I'll go ahead and just play it for you guys.
Wow. I don't know what to say. I just saw the GoFundMe, all the support from everybody just now. It's just, it's too much. Thank you. God is so good. You all are so good. I had to pull over because I just got so emotional seeing what's going on here, guys. And thank you guys so much. I'm not sure what happened today, but something popped off.
So what happened that day that he posted that was that I posted the footage covering it, and someone in the comments mentioned this to him, and he acknowledged it as well. So again, I don't want to take full credit or any credit really. It was you guys who did this, so you deserve all the credit for helping this man out. I mean, $37,000 is insane. And this is the kind of change or the kind of impact that I wanted ATA to have. Something that's practical, that really makes a difference in someone's life, not just, beyond just an education. So seeing this and watching this video, I don't know. This is what makes it worth it. This is what makes it keep going. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you, everyone. If you could like this, that I would sincerely appreciate it. It would help a lot. I'm going to say that periodically. Sorry if that gets on your nerves, guys. But So yeah, I think Rusty is now well equipped to hire an attorney and potentially pursue a civil claim after this, if not just defend himself from the criminal claims and maybe get his CDL back, which was the biggest tragedy of all of this, in my opinion. Not only did he have to spend a bunch of time in jail, miss his daughter's graduation, but he also lost his entire career path, which it sounded like he worked really hard to get. And I can't imagine what that would be like to be doing so well in life after having, a difficult past, and then just to have that all ripped out from under you because an officer made a terrible decision. So this is one of the times where we made some real change, ladies and gentlemen, and I appreciate that. And here, I'll post a link to the GoFundMe if you guys feel like getting him to that 50K. I don't know, but I did just want to talk about this and showing it. I also wanted to point this out. So I don't know how many of you guys use Reddit, but I do have an ATA subreddit, and this would be a good place to start with. Like if you guys want me to review something during a live stream, then this would probably be the best way to get it to me instead of just posting in the community page on YouTube every time. So I encourage you to go check this out. It's been dead for 2 years now. I haven't really messed with it because I haven't had time, but it's here. Maybe we can get it back up and going again. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention in case you were interested. All right. Now, like I said, we had a couple people submit some videos. And this was one of the videos, which this is kind of a departure from just police interactions, but I thought it would be cool to check out. He put some specific timestamps in here that we're going to look at, but Quinlan says, what inspired you to live stream? A couple different things. First of all, I think the main motivator, at least, was that is that, oh, sorry. I don't think that chat overlay is actually working. But anyway, sorry. The main, okay, maybe it is. Okay, the main reason that I decided to start streaming was because I feel like it'd be an easier way for me to create content for the John Lang channel, because right now, it is very difficult to manage 2 channels and the workload that comes with that. I don't know if you guys, I'll say this. Look, I don't know that much about what it's like to work in the welding industry, for example. I don't know what it's like to go and do that kind of job every day and what it takes out of you and what kind of emotional toll that might have on you, or physical toll, what have you. And I'm sure that a lot of people out there don't understand that very same thing about content creation, and that it is a full-time job. And unlike other jobs, though, you don't ever get to clock out. There's never a time where I don't feel like I'm at work, I guess. It's just a highly demanding job. It demands a lot of your attention. So it's difficult to manage 2 channels. And this makes it a little more streamlined, a little easier to create content. But okay, let's get in. You guys want to check this video out? We'll just go ahead and get into it. From what I understand so far, this is a documentary about, I guess, policing the police, as you can see here. I haven't seen this. This was submitted by someone else, and they told me to start at this timestamp. Overkill asks if I've ever had my own police encounter. I've actually had many of my own police encounters. All of them were prior to starting ATA. And as a matter of fact, one of my own police encounters was a large reason why I started the channel in the first place. I was pulled over and accused of running a red light and not wearing my seatbelt, both of which were untrue. I basically called the officer's bluff on that. He changed his mind, didn't issue any citations or anything, but his attitude was very accusatory and condescending. I would say I navigated that encounter relatively well because I was able to get out of it without a ticket, but that sort of reminded me about the whole First Amendment community and led to me making ATA. And even before that, when I was younger, I was not on a good path in life. When I was like 18, from the ages of like 18 to 21 or so, I was basically homeless, and just surviving couch surfing with no real goals in life and no direction. Eventually, my mother, who I had a pretty rocky relationship with, asked if I would come live with her under the condition that I went back to college. And I was at a point in my life where I really wanted to go to college anyway. I just didn't have the means to do so. I didn't have a car or any money or any, way to even figure out what financial aid was. So that sort of changed the trajectory of my life in a lot of positive ways. And I really appreciate my mom for being a good mom. But to answer the question, yeah, I've had some police interactions, most of them pretty negative, but I can't say that they were all like the fault of the police, looking back on it. Thank you, Martha. Rodney says your ATA videos run in the background for hours sometimes. That's awesome. That's great. Watch time really helps the channel too. So if you guys are ever bored and you're not doing anything and you just want to throw an ATA video up in the background, YouTube loves that. So, excuse me. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into this video. Just check it out, see what it's all about, see what we think about it, if it's legit. I mean, PBS, PBS is the one who made this, so I expect the journalism to be pretty good. There's a lot of, thank you, Psycho. Psycho Logger, I'm assuming. Thank you very much, dude. 25 CA. I don't even know. I'm guessing that's Canadian. I don't know what the exchange rate on CA is, but thank you. Doesn't even matter. I mean, anything is awesome. But anyway, I don't know how you guys feel about PBS, but when I was growing up, they were kind of like a pillar of journalism. And although nowadays I do kind of see them leaning just a little bit left on occasion, which in my opinion is not a good thing. How old is this documentary? It is from 5 years ago. It was posted in 2020. So let's also keep that in mind. The landscape of policing and stuff like that and how we think about it was very different when this was created. So 5 years has changed quite a bit and not changed anything at all in a lot of ways. Waffle Cone says, I once had the cops knock on my door in my college dorm for the smell of weed. We were dumb and smoked it in the room. They just knocked for hours, but I never answered the door. That's funny. Yeah, it's a little tricky when you're on a college campus, though, because oftentimes if you're in a dorm, you sign paperwork at the beginning saying that you will let them enter your room whenever you want. So be careful if you're in college and you want to smoke weed in your dorm. Don't. Just go somewhere else. Cornett says the media should definitely be impartial and not lean either way. Exactly. I agree with that. But I do feel like a lot of the traditional media that we used to think of as very fair and balanced have a little bit of a left-leaning perspective nowadays, which, I mean, that's a bad thing because, we want objectivity. But at the same time, you know, I guess they're just trying to survive in a journalism industry that's dying. So there's also that. It's not like NPR is just gonna start a YouTube channel and everything will be fixed. It's a, you know, massive apparatus that requires a lot of funding, a lot of which comes from the government. So yeah, and Mike M says it right. Not having a bias is very, very tough. What to one is left leaning might be right leaning to another. Yeah, I agree with that. And I experience this all the time. You know, ATA has been apolitical since the beginning. And yet I still get constant harassment about being pro or anti, you know, who are, you know, left or right. Honestly, I've never reflected my political opinions in that show, and I don't intend to. That's not the point of it. East Carbon Exposed, thank you for the $10, man. I really appreciate that. And he says, I was forced into auditing, but been around for 15 years in the First Amendment audit community. Yeah, I think a lot of people find it that way, that, you know, they experience some kind of police interaction that a lot of times totally morphs the way that they think about policing. And that leads certain people down certain paths, which, you know, tends to be First Amendment auditing for some. Mitch, my guy, $50. Jesus Christ, man. That's a lot. Thank you. Wow. Charlotte L.A. Redden is simply awesome. Dude. Wow, that's incredible. $50. Thank you so much, Mitch. I really appreciate that. All right, guys, let's jump into this video and see. Let's try to gauge where the journalism was coming from with this. I mean, obviously we're starting 28 minutes in, so we don't, you know, we're losing a lot of context right here. Oh, that's your wife, Mitch? I was curious. I was like, do I know who that is? I don't think yeah, that's good. That's a good way to show her some love. Give me money. All right, let's check it out. Let's just see, and then we'll let it play a little bit. We'll talk about it, and then you guys can see what you think about the journalistic integrity of PBS in this documentary.
Just in the past month, we've got numerous guns off that same block, same area right there.
Intelligence pays off.
Let me know
later
if
that
that's
evening,
too
I
quiet.
see what happens without it.
Yo! No! Right!
Don't touch me, bro. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Hey, hold on. Hold on.
Stop.
I'm not doing that. Come on, man.
Stop. You want to pull away from me, man? You're going to get hurt.
All right, just cough for safety. Cough for safety. I swear to God, I did not. All right, sir. Stop. Cough for safety. Cough for safety. Cough for safety.
I'm the other guy. I don't have to cough.
I didn't do nothing.
Just stop, sir. Just stop.
Sir, you're not under arrest. Just for your safety, our safety. No, you're gonna be all right.
All right, so we don't have a lot of information yet, but Jesus Christ, just coming up to a guy walking down the street. The only context we had before this was that they said something along the lines of, "We found guns in this house multiple times." Blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. That's not a legitimate excuse to walk up and arrest anyone who's going to that house.
All right, bring him up to his feet.
Stand up, man. Why are you acting like a jerk, bro? We stopped you to talk to you.
Sure.
Where's
Pull
the
away from a cop.
I didn't pull away from
Yes, you
nobody,
did,
bro.
sir. Because you
Bro,
pulled
I
away
said,
from me.
Don't touch me, please. Because y'all pulling up. What the did I do? Nothing. I'm
We'll
walking
explain
home.
everything to
You
you.
don't even know what the hell's going on. I'm going home.
Yeah, that's why we're stopping to talk
I
to
am
you.
going home.
When you start pulling away, it's on.
Right here, I'm
I
talking.
didn't pull away from nobody.
Look, we ain't gonna do that.
My fault, man.
If you wanna do that, we could do that.
Do what?
Listen, where you live at? You understand the reason why you cuffed?
No.
They can't help but use inflammatory language even when they're trying to de-escalate. He's like telling him, chill out, bro. But then at the same time, he's like, you don't want us to do that, do you? You know, it's like, come on, bro. Like, either de-escalate or don't.
All right. Now, when we came and approached you, what did you do? You automatically pushed away from us?
No, I said, don't touch me.
That's not what happened. Let's go back and see. He said, when I approached you, you automatically pushed away. Well, let's just go back. Let's just see if that's true.
Right.
Don't touch me, bro. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me.
Hey, hold on. Hold on. I'm not doing that. Come on, man.
The hoods right now, and not just the hoods, everywhere. My fault, man.
He didn't even pull away at all. He literally said, don't touch me. That was the only thing he did.
All right. You were drinking today?
Yes, I was, actually.
Let me ask you, if you would have drank less, would this ever happen?
I only had one beer, and yes, it would have, because we see so much violence going on in the hoods right now, and not just the hoods, everywhere. You know, the violence from police is crazy right now. And the way y'all approach me, all I was doing was walking home. If y'all would have said, young man, what are you doing?
What are you doing today?
Going home.
Okay. So,
I don't care about
see
the
how
area.
fast that was?
Do not.
He said, see how fast that was? As if that's what they tried to do. They didn't try to do that. They walked up to him and immediately arrested him.
Stereotype, because that's what y'all did to me.
We have an arrest.
Against who?
And narcotics.
Who? The
dude you was walking with.
No. What do you mean he had drugs on him? No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
What do you mean? He was with me all day.
He's in the car.
Huh? He has drugs today.
Come on, bro. I don't know what y'all trying to pull. You ain't finding no drugs on me, right?
That's why you free to go. That's why you're not on cuffs.
Have a good day, sir.
Yeah,
I would love to see like the other guy's arrest too, because they're claiming he has drugs on him, but like that's not a reason to arrest him if you didn't have a reason to arrest him in the first place. They would need to have some kind of suspicion that something illegal was going on before they could arrest him for whatever drugs he supposedly had. So, I don't know. I find that suspicious.
easy. Man, be wise about your choices, brother.
Take that same advice, sir.
Thank you, Teron. As soon as I approached him, he was immediately hostile, so I basically went to just control his hand in case, fearing that he might have had a weapon or something, or, just to basically get a little physical control over him. And at that point, he pulled away from me, so...
Overkill says, is that a stop and throw you to the ground state? That's really funny. Yeah, apparently it is.
I decided to take him to the ground and just get him under control and then determine what was going on with him. I didn't deal with the other kid, but it looked like the other kid was arrested for possession of CDS, so...
Yeah, the other kid
I mean... They were involved in something. It might have been fairly minor, but it was something.
See, he has no idea what they were involved in, and they did all that. They have no idea. Like, what is that? I suspect, as Darren is mentioning, that was probably an illegal search. Yeah, it is kind of weird, Shields of Shame, that they didn't interview the guy who was being stopped by the police officers. You'd think that might be a big thing. If you're doing a whole documentary about policing the police, you should probably talk to the victims. Yeah, and Mitch says they're proud of this. They definitely are talking like they are. I can say that for sure. We're 50-50 with illegal searches so far. All right.
While the officer seemed certain about that stop, I remained troubled by it. I've requested the report on the incident and also wanted to know what the unit supervisor, Sergeant Constantino, thought of how it went down.
Okay, so I guess this guy right here is the host of this documentary. I don't know him. Not familiar with him anyway. But he's about to talk to the sergeant, so let's see how the sergeant justifies that.
I wanted to kind of go through something that we shot the other day, and it's of a encounter
with a gang unit or a different unit?
Right.
Don't touch me, bro. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me.
Hey, hold on. Stop. I'm not doing that. Come on, man.
Stop. You want to pull away from me, man? You're going to get hurt.
All right, just call for safety.
I didn't do nothing.
Just stop.
Dominaire, thank you for the $5, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. He says that ground news is great for information. They report on a lot of news outlets and show what political sides they are on, which is true. I have been sponsored by Ground News a couple of times, and I actually use their app pretty regularly. So yeah, I agree with that. If you guys haven't checked out Ground News, do it. It's free, and it's a great way to improve your media literacy. Thank you so much, Dominar. And if you could, guys, give me a like on this stream. It would really help it reach some more people. But anyway, let's get back into this.
Let's stop.
Sir, you're not under arrest. Just for your safety, I'll see.
I'm going home.
Yeah, that's why we're stopping it.
He looks concerned.
Start pulling away. It's on. Right here. I'm
I
talking.
didn't pull away from nobody.
Look, we ain't gonna do that.
So was that a good stop? Not a good stop?
You know what? It starts at the point where they encountered him. I would have to read the report to see exactly how that unfolded. But
That's
I
fair.
understand that by perception only, that would look like it was a bad stop. By perception.
Yeah, and that's something that we need to keep in mind while we're watching this, is that it seems like this is, obviously any documentary that's made called Policing the Police is probably not going to paint the police in a very favorable light. So it's important for us to bear in mind that, we don't know what happened prior to that. We don't know what happened prior to that interaction, and maybe they did have some kind of legitimate evidence that just wasn't shown in this documentary. So just something to keep in mind. And we're judging the legitimacy of the journalistic integrity involved in this as well. So Shields of Shame says, you have been instrumental in my work. Thank you. Thank you for the $10, Shields of Shame. And you have actually been instrumental in my work as well, because I believe I covered an interaction that you had originally posted. You gave me all of the raw footage and allowed me to make that episode as good as it could possibly be. So right back at you, brother. For any of you who aren't subscribed to Shields of Shame, you should check out his channel. He posts a lot of police interaction content that you probably won't see anywhere else. But yeah, so let's bear in mind that we're watching a documentary made by PBS about policing the police. So we have to keep in mind that there's probably some degree of bias happening here, and we don't know what we're not shown.
I think what disturbed me most about that video was that I think if I had been in that position, I would have pulled away too. Almost by human instinct, if you're surrounded by people who are coming at you in a rush, you're going to back up. And that was kind of seen as justification for...
I understand what you're saying, but see, this is where we differ. See, my thing is, and again, if I get stopped by the police, and I am a police officer, I listen.
JDT, thank you for the $2.
Put my hand, if I'm in the car, up on the roof. I take all the precautions
just
too.
Because.
But in that situation there, or any situation, I think I would have complied. I understand what your instincts are, but when you say you're being surrounded by officers that you could clearly see are officers.
Okay, but first of all, I think the host is making a little bit of an irrelevant point, and I would have liked to see him say something along the lines of, what's the justification for that? Because when I looked at that, and we watched it twice, he did comply. There was no pulling away. He told the officers not to touch him, and they did anyway. And he wasn't happy about that, but I didn't see him like physically do anything that would be considered resisting or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't like the way that the host framed this question. I wish he would have been a little more clear and thoughtful about it, but obviously the way that this sergeant is replying is insane. To say that, first of all, it was night. These cops probably got out and just rushed at this guy. I doubt he had even time to really know what the hell was going on, or to see that these were actual police officers. So I don't know. I don't like the way this was framed. This conversation should have went a different direction, in my opinion.
I don't believe it had to go there if he would have just.
But see, this is, I think, like the key difference, which is that, you know, kind of being surrounded by police is not a position in which you feel like you're safe for someone like me.
I understand that.
I would say, you know, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what the agenda of these people is. I know I'm surrounded. The idea of complying is like, sure, that's maybe your second thought.
Right.
Your immediate thought is, you know, I'm in jeopardy. Like, what's happening here? I think that fundamentally the difference is, if you are surrounded by police officers, do you feel more safe or less safe than you were 2 minutes earlier?
Right, and what needs to be is that you need to feel like you're safe and that you can explain, and then the situation's over. It's not.
And then whose job is it to make sure that you feel that way? Let me just ask that. Whose job is it to make sure that you feel safe with the police officers? It's not your job, and you can't control how you feel whenever cops come up to you. It's their job. The onus is on the police to make the citizen feel comfortable. Yeah, and like there's, Icy Flow says like 5 cops and 10 guns, but the cops still feel scared. Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. And yeah, they feel terrified by members of the public. Like they never know what they're going to do next and things like that. But that's exactly how the public feels about the police as well. So it goes both ways.
Not that way right now.
In that moment, you're actually about to make a stop of this person. Where is your head?
I'll admit there's time when I have fear. And I think fear is probably one of your best friends. And there are times where you hear gunshots, and we have to run to those shots. Most people can't equate or understand what that's about. Your heart rate when it starts to increase, and you're running, and then you're going to encounter someone, and you may ultimately have to wrestle with that person. You got some bad people out there that have no problem going to the mat with a police officer.
Yeah, and you have police officers out there who have no problem going to the mat with citizens for no reason. Every argument he just laid out there could be equally said for the other side. I don't think he actually made a legitimate point at all.
And trying to take their gun, and maybe even using it against them. So I don't think anybody could ever understand the stress of this situation.
Do you guys want to keep watching this, or you want to jump to something else? You guys let me know. I really hate when they include B-roll shots of just the host walking around somewhere in a documentary just to fill up space. That's so annoying. Next. Yeah, I agree. But that was interesting. I will say, well, first of all, do you guys think that there was any corruption of journalistic integrity from this video? I didn't really sense it, but at the same time, we barely watched any of it, so it's kind of difficult to say. But I think the title itself kind of lends itself to a little bit of bias. But then again, my whole channel is called Audit the Audit, so I guess that doesn't say much for me. Kung Fu Grip says, so much danger, we have fear. Working police, not even a top 10 dangerous job in America. It's like 17th. Yeah, that's true. There's very many other more dangerous professions. But this is the only one where you are trained to be afraid, which is, it creates an interesting dynamic for sure. The fact that they only interviewed a cop says it all. Yeah, I think that's a valid point. And, you know, like I said earlier, I definitely think that they should have interviewed the guy that was stopped, at least beyond just talking to the cops. Maybe they did, though, and he didn't say anything that was, like, worth including in the documentary. I don't know if you guys have ever done any work with interviewing people, but it's hard. And people generally don't know how to answer and how to, like, conduct themselves in an interview. So that could have been that, you know. Shields of Shame says, I would love to see you profile live PD. This is really cool. Thank you. I would like to do live PD, but I'm almost positive that they would issue a copyright strike. Icy Flow says, I have a shirt that says it's more dangerous to marry a cop than to be a cop. Yeah, there is a lot of evidence out there to suggest that the the spouses of police officers are, tend to be at a higher risk of domestic abuse and things like that. We should look that up. We'll do that in another stream. David Lynch, the legend. He says the Civil Rights Handbook is a great book. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you guys, I have a copy of it right here. If you want to go to Amazon, I think there's a link in the description or something. You can get this book. I wrote this. It took years off my life to write this. It's very cursory, and it's just really meant to give people a fundamental understanding about how to navigate a police interaction. But I think it's a valuable tool, and it can help a lot of people. And even if you already know the things that are in it, I'm sure you know someone who doesn't. And that was kind of why I made the book, was to help those people who don't watch ATA, who don't already have like very fundamental ideas about how to navigate a police interaction. So it's a great place to start if you, have never watched ATA. I often make the comparison that instead of having to watch thousands of hours of body camera footage like we all did here, you could just as easily pick up the book and get about the same degree of knowledge. Mike M says, we only saw like 10 minutes of the video. It's hard to know what they interview or how the remainder of this plays out. I think the best thing we can say about this is we don't know, which is true. Fair assessment. I agree with that. All right, well, let's move on because there is another PBS documentary. But I guess since we just did that, let's kind of shift gears and go somewhere else. We'll go to a police interaction. This is one that was uploaded, or suggested in this post here. So we'll check it out, see how it goes. Bill says, has anyone noticed that the reenactments done as shorts by a channel that does not tell you the audits are not real? Bill, I did a whole video about this. The channel that you're talking about is Body Cam Declassified. And I actually have a whole video, but I had to private it because I needed to do a re-edit on it. And I guess that's not the kind of content you guys are into because no one watched it. So that's why I haven't been in much of a hurry to get it re-uploaded because it didn't do very well. But I did show a connection that I made in the video that I think was, I don't know who else has covered this or not, but I found that they were linked to another channel that was actually producing like family-friendly content, which was really weird. And yeah, thank you to my mod. I also made a post on the ATA page just kind of warning everyone that this channel is out there because I think part of their whole business model is like creating a honey trap for content creators that cover police interaction content because their whole website, and I think I could pull it up here. Oh, Jesus Christ. Can't type, guys, or talk. I don't know what's wrong with me. So if you go to their website, this is what you get. It's just basically an entire legal warning and a content licensing. So like they're basically saying in this, if you take our content, yeah, here you go. If you take our content without our permission, we will pursue copyright strikes against you. Which is pretty tragic that they're even doing this. But this is really all the evidence you need to see that these are fake because it says right here, our content is not actual body camera footage. Yeah, probably built by ChatGPT. Thomas Taylor says, yeah, probably so. Let's see if are there any M dashes in here? That's like a telltale sign. Guess not. Which I'm sure that if I was them, I would do my best to make this look as legitimate as possible. But look, they're gonna an administrative fee of $2,500 per infringing video. It's fucking ridiculous. This is just garbage. Anyway, yeah, that channel's fake. Don't give them your support. They're just profiting off of outrage. Anyway, all right, let's see what we got here. This comes from a channel called Against All Enemies, Foreign and Domestic. Interesting. He says, on April 4th, 2024, Deputy Stanfill and badge number 411 pulled over a car for dark tint. The rear passenger was visibly upset and let them know. They wanted his ID, but when he asked for their names and badge numbers, it took a turn for the worse. He was subsequently arrested for excessive force and First Amendment violations. Okay. How does someone get arrested for excessive force? That's weird. We'll see how this goes. This is muted, by the way. Let me see if I can get to the action here. There we go.
What's going on, guys?
Hello.
How are you?
Hello. Is this back window roll down?
I'm Deputy Box with Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Hey, how we doing, man?
Oh, well, how you doing?
Hello, hello.
Do what?
Your ID.
Hey, how's it going, man?
All right.
So I'm Deputy Stanfill, Sheriff's Office. The reason for the stop is the window tint, and then you were going about 7 over in the square.
My window tints are legal.
I'm sorry?
My window tints are legal. We made sure.
Okay. It just looked dark, so I don't have to be like, hey, that window tint, you know what I'm saying? It just looked dark, so all I need is reasonable suspicion for the stop, and we'll be able.
Yeah, okay, let me say this to people. Look, I have tinted windows on my car as well, but I think it's a bad idea to get tinted windows at all if you live in a state that regulates it at all. There are a couple of states that let you just tint your windows however you want, and it's not a crime. But if there is a crime at all on the books about window tinting, and you live in a state that has that law, then it doesn't matter if your windows are lawfully compliant or not. It can still be used as a basis to establish reasonable suspicion to pull you over. So bear that in mind. If you get your windows tinted, even if they're in the legal limit, it still gives officers an excuse to pull you over. So keep that in mind.
Able to determine whether it's legal or not.
We're on our way to 228 to pick up my grandson.
Okay, all right, good deal. And then I was pacing you about 27 to the square. Okay, the speed limit is 20.
No,
yeah. I'm sorry.
I got the app on the phone.
What's that?
I got the app on my phone.
What are you talking about?
I know how fast he was going.
How fast was he going?
He's not that fast.
Well, how fast was he going then, sir?
That fast.
Don't answer.
My lawyer always say that.
Okay. All right, anyways,
Okay.
Can you roll this one? I'm trying. Yeah. Can you roll this window up just a little bit for me?
That's right, Kung Fu Flip. Kung Fu Grip. Don't hang things from your window either. Like that. Like this right here.
Thank you.
That's just an excuse to get pulled over.
All right. Can you see this? That way you don't think I'm making something up. Do you see that number?
Yeah, I see the number.
All right. Can you tell me what that number is?
It say 23.
All right. So the legal amount in, sorry, someone's talking in my ear. The legal amount in the state of Tennessee is 35 and above. Okay. So anything below that is considered illegal from the state of Tennessee.
No, we had it done to where it was legal to where it was drive. You the first officer. I done had sheriffs and everything.
Okay. Listen, I'm not going to argue with you guys, okay?
I'm not either, but
I'm just letting you know why I'm stopping you, okay?
All right. So don't trust the tent shop to tell you that your tent is legal. You can't trust that. I'm sure what happened was these people went into a tent place and they were like, hey, can you tint our windows and make sure it's within the legal limit? And then whatever shop was there didn't know what the legal limit was, so they just put on, whatever the lightest thing that they had that you could still tell was tinting, because at 35% tint, that's almost completely transparent. That's barely any tint at all. So any amount of darkness in this state, which Tennessee, will constitute enough reasonable suspicion to get you pulled over.
That's not a legal stop. That's just an excuse. I'll get my lawyer.
Okay, just leave it alone. Let him do his thing so we can go home.
Do you have your registration and insurance?
I got a grandson that need to be in the bed, and
Where'd you guys say?
and if y'all run a tax, I already got insurance on the car.
Just say,
I got you.
What do you say? You don't have to explain nothing.
Quentin, please just hush.
Peter asks, does the meter show 100 on a clear window? I'm actually not sure. I think so. I think it would. It's probably measuring what percentage of light is going from one sensor to the other when he puts that thing down on the window. So that I imagine it probably would say 100 if it was a completely transparent window. But even in a completely transparent window, the light's going to refract a little bit, and depending on the composition of the window and whether or not that glass itself is purely clear, will probably alter those results to some degree.
Okay, so when they paint your
This
windows,
stuff is, I don't like this. I know. I feel like racism and all kinds of stuff.
But that's why I've got my lawyer. And what is your badge number and your name, sir?
224, Deputy Stanfield.
Yeah. I got red scissors and stuff.
I got you.
What's your name and number, sir?
Thanks, sir.
My name is Deputy Boswell.
Thank you, ma'am.
Badge number's 411.
Oh, you a deputy? Why is you
Deputy
you a
Boswell, I
deputy?
think is what it said.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you say you a
Hey, sir. Hey, we're trying to get this going, okay?
I'm trying to go. I don't have time for this.
All right, so
You should never made a stop.
do you have any ID on you?
It's
You don't need my ID, sir.
Okay.
this is all us just running and just go.
Bill says that he knows that some tests can be, or some infractions can be challenged if they cannot prove the testing devices are calibrated. That's true to a degree. I don't know if window tinting is actually a calibrated device or not. We'd have to probably look that up, and we'd need to know the specific model that this officer was using. But, it very well, there are certainly cases where a lack of calibration is not, or a lack of calibration would be a means to get your charge dismissed. My mod put the Tennessee code for the tinting here. Let's see if we can look that up. All right, let's see. It's unlawful to have tints that are 35% or more. And then it talks about the manufacturer's standard. So yeah, it looks like the police officer is right about the requirements for Tennessee.
Okay, and who's your insurance through, ma'am?
My insurance is through direct. You need to see it off my phone, baby.
If you have it, yes, ma'am.
I don't have time for all this. Like I said, I feel like it's racism
Yes, it
and all
is.
kind of
Yes, it is.
nitpicking with folks
That's
at
all
night.
Okay.
That's all Gallatin do.
Well, I don't work for Gallatin City, okay?
I don't care who you work for.
He's
That's all
sheriff.
they do
He on the
around
right
here,
side, but the
pick on
deputy in the
black
street.
folks, and I don't like that.
This is illegal,
I do
for
not
one.
like that.
The sheriff should be in the street. The deputy should be over here. This is an illegal stop. Now, if y'all don't want to get sued,
Sir, can you please stop?
Please stop.
No, y'all stop.
Can you please just stop?
Let them do their damn job.
They not.
All right, so I just want to say that I don't think this is an illegal stop so far. I don't agree with this guy saying that it's an illegal stop. I don't think it is. I don't know if it's based on race or not. That's another accusation they're making, but I don't see any evidence of that just yet. But it's, those things are highly subjective. It's really difficult to say what the pretext for this stop might have been, but it's also pretty irrelevant because the fact is that they had tinted windows that his device has at least shown to some degree are not compliant with state law. And that's not even a necessary element to pull them over. I mean, just having tinted windows is enough for an officer to pull you over in Tennessee. So not an illegal stop yet.
It's illegal what they doing.
It's okay. Everything
If you keep letting it be okay, they're going to keep doing it. How many of us died? He's supposed to be in the street. The deputy's supposed to be on the right side. This is illegal. He's supposed to be the boss. He over here acting like he the boss. He a deputy. We don't know if you his cousin or not.
It's not bothering us. We good.
It's bothering me because he asked for my ID.
Bothering
we
him?
good. Let me get this insurance so that we can go. But all they had to do was find my place and the insurance would have popped up.
Yeah, they did all that. They ran the front windshield, saw a black and white couple, and saw it was a problem.
So from where we were, how we've been able.
But here go my girl right here. She bad.
Good for you, sir.
You see my 2 kids? Yeah, she bad, ain't she?
Stuff like that. Why you don't show cops your personal information like that? Or I guess it's not information, but I wouldn't show cops anything like that. You don't want them to know anything about you if you can help it. Thomas says some states require a search warrant or consent to even use the meter. I'm sure that's probably the case. A lot of states have very different laws when it comes to that kind of thing.
I'm black, she white.
What is my insurance?
Sir, your race has nothing to do with anything, okay?
Yes,
I'm sorry you feel the way you do, but no, it doesn't.
Your rank don't have nothing to do with it. Your body cam ain't even on.
Body cam is on, sir.
All right, I'll let the window up. Can I let my window up?
Actually, I'm gonna have you hop out, Quinn.
No, for what?
Can you hop out? All right. Hop, just real quick. I want to talk to you real quick.
No, I'm good. You don't need to talk to me.
Sir,
in the back seat, sir.
Listen.
No,
right.
I got you. You want me to talk to my lawyer? You want to talk to my lawyer?
You can.
I don't have to get out.
Hey,
I'm not.
Why are you yelling?
Because you want me to step out. That's violation.
Okay.
All the people that step out that I know die.
Listen.
No, you listen.
Okay.
Socksmith asks, would this be an administrative traffic stop to enforce state local code, or does the window tint rise to the threshold of an investigatory detention? It's not an administrative stop because he has reasonable suspicion that a crime has been committed, which is the window tint. So this would be a Terry stop, technically. And that's all he needs to effectuate this stop. Now, the second point I want to bring up is that he's ordering this guy out of the car now, which under Pennsylvania versus Mims would probably be lawful. They basically, it's not Pennsylvania versus Mims. It's a sister case to it, which is not coming to my mind right now. I think it's Wilson, but it basically said the same thing, that, officers have the authority to control a traffic stop and the people who are involved in a traffic stop, and that extends to the passengers. The reasoning is that, the mission that the state has by effectuating a traffic stop is, it doesn't override your Fourth Amendment. It's basically an acceptable temporary suspension of your Fourth Amendment. So as of right now, it's still a lawful stop. And Eric, you said it, Maryland versus Wilson. Thank you. That's the case I was trying to think of. So as of right now, still a lawful stop. He can be ordered to get out, but here's the thing. He can't just pat him down, which I imagine is what he's going to do when he gets this guy out of the car, because it's like almost protocol for police officers. As soon as they get someone out of that car, they pat them down. But Arizona v. Gant is another case that's relevant to this, that sort of took the Mims ruling into consideration and said, hold on, you don't get, the frisk is not part of the authority that's granted under Mims. That's a separate event from just asking someone to get out of the car under the guise of trying to control the movement and making the traffic stop more efficient. But in this case, in the Arizona versus Gant case, they basically said, you got to think, the officer needs to think that this person is armed and dangerous, or have some clear reason to conduct a pat-down frisk. It can't just be because they're involved in a traffic stop. But let's see how this goes.
Leave me alone. Shut my door back, sir. I'm not sir, officer. Good night.
I'm not yelling at you. I don't know why you're yelling at me.
Down.
Okay.
Shut my door. You don't need anything from me.
Okay. You're making this into something that doesn't.
I'm just having a conversation. I got the right to talk.
Absolutely.
Okay. No, you don't need to try to find out information about me, because I was doing my rights talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
therefore, shut my door.
But you're borderline.
I ain't cuss. You ain't hear me cuss. I ain't disrespect you at once.
Sir, can you please step out of the car?
I didn't disrespect you at once. I was just speaking my mind. I didn't cuss you out.
Okay.
I didn't disrespect you.
Okay, listen to me. Step out of the car. Step out.
No, sir. My lawyer said I do not have to step out.
Listen.
I am not the driver of this vehicle.
Do you know Pennsylvania
Wait, he's about to cite it.
versus Mims, Maryland versus Wilson?
No,
there's case law.
I believe you. I don't got you.
Let me talk, okay?
No.
Because I've been respectful to you.
I have been respectful, but my lawyer told me I don't have to do anything you guys tell me to because I'm not. No, he's still.
That's a dangerous lawyer to be telling him that he doesn't have to do anything that police tell him to do. Come on, man. Don't do that. This is not the way to handle this. He does need to get out of the vehicle at this point. And this is almost an Shields of Shame said it's rare for a cop to know case law. That is very true. And when they do, you should probably just do what they say to an acceptable extent. But this right here is not what you want to do. If you're involved in a traffic stop and you are ordered out of the vehicle, yeah, you need to get out. Yeah, and like Double B said, it has to be a lawful order, which is true. And in this case, it is a lawful order. And this individual should toss whatever advice that attorney gave him out the window and just get out of the car. Welcome, Jack. Just want to give you guys another quick reminder to hit that like button if you're enjoying this. I would appreciate your support. But let's get on to it.
You trying to get me out?
Yeah, okay.
No.
So listen.
You loud.
I just got loud because he's still.
I'm code 7 so far. I've backseat passengers refusing to get out of the vehicle.
The law in Pennsylvania, he got the right to tell me to step out the vehicle.
I do. That doesn't matter, okay? So listen to me. I'm going to explain to you why I'm asking you to step out.
I'm explaining to you.
Do you care to listen? Do you care to listen? Do you care to listen?
Step out.
For no reason.
Yeah, this
because
guy
you're being disorderly. You're sitting here yelling. I'm trying.
Traffic stop.
I'm trying to talk to her for the reason why I'm talking. Why I'm stopping.
You got her information.
Why are you yelling? Step out of the car. Step out. That's a lawful order to get out of the car.
No, he said I was disturbing you.
Okay.
Giving you the information.
So I'm gonna ask you one more time, okay?
Well, me and him having an argument. He tried to overtalk. That's it.
Yeah, look, I just want to say that I think that this guy's intoxicated. This is just a vibe I'm getting. I have no evidence to support that, but I just have an inkling that this guy in the car might be intoxicated, which may be contributing to the reason he's acting like this.
That's fine. I'm gonna ask you one more time to step out of the car.
I was over talking you for giving you his.
Sir, step out. Okay, buddy. Okay, step out. Step out.
Right. For what? For what?
We're fighting with someone.
Record.
Get out of the car, man.
Record it. I'm not driving. Why are you recording it?
Sir.
Why are you breaking my neck?
Please step out of the car.
He breaking my neck.
Step out. Step out.
All right, man, you gotta move out.
Please step out of the car.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not driving.
It doesn't matter. Dude, step out of the car.
Right?
Hey, sir, you gotta step out or we gotta escalate.
Don't say that.
I'll video.
Everything's being recorded, okay?
Yeah.
I've asked you.
I'm in the
It's a lawful order.
I'm in the back seat.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. You're gonna get tased. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
See what happens.
Get out of the car.
No, let me see what happens.
Get out of the car.
You gonna fuck my heart up.
Get out of the car.
You gonna kill me.
Then just listen and get out of the car.
I ain't got to.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Stay in the car. Stay in the car.
Stay in the car.
I'm recording all this.
Me too.
I'm recording all this.
Step out. Now you're under arrest. You understand that? Now you're under arrest for resisting.
All right. Now he's under arrest for resisting, which probably is true. I haven't looked up Tennessee's resisting statute in a while. I don't even know what it would be, but I can say for sure that if you don't obey a lawful order to exit a vehicle and they have to physically extract you from the vehicle, that certainly qualifies as resisting. Sandy says, when your backseat lawyer messes up your whole night. Yeah, that's kind of what happened. That's what's going on here. We got a backseat lawyer Icy Flow says these cops are actually pretty patient with him. I agree, and I think that their attitude, following or prior to this, and even up to this point now, has been pretty reasonable and acceptable. I mean, he did cite the exact case law that he needed to justify this. So at this point, the guy in the back seat is just kind of acting like an asshole.
Arrest. Y'all check these officers out. Y'all check them out. Check them out.
I'm not resisting.
They trying to kill my
They
brother.
just don't know their goddamn
They
job.
trying to kill my brother.
Get out of the car,
They trying
dude.
to kill my
Get
brother.
out of the car, dude.
Can y'all then get out of the car?
Look at this. Look at this, y'all.
Get up. Give me your hands.
Look at this.
Stop resisting. Give me your hands.
I'm not resisting.
We're fighting. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Give me your hands.
I'm recording.
Give me your hands, dude.
Look at this. Look at
Give me your hands.
Listen, get my phone.
Look at this.
Give me your hands.
Look at this.
You're under arrest.
For
Look
what?
at this. For what?
What's the charge?
I got it.
For him speaking his mind.
Right, what's the charge?
For him speaking his mind.
What's the charge?
Stay in the car.
Right,
What's
y'all
the
just fucked
charge?
up.
Y'all can't charge him with nothing because he didn't do nothing.
Turn to your side.
Don't worry about it, Lisa. Get my phone. Get my phone.
God, this got chaotic
Stand up.
so fast.
Bring your knees to your chest.
Get my glass.
Bring your knees to your chest.
Get up. I'll take your phone. He
Sit against the car.
my face. He said he's going to take
Move
my face.
over time. Move over time. Stop.
I'm moving.
Dude, stop punching. Stop.
My face.
Stop.
Take me my
Just stop.
Why do they have a taser on the
face. You
handcuffed
find out
guy?
where I come from.
Stop.
You find out about felonies.
Stop pushing off
I'm
the car,
not
dude.
pushing. Look, they pushing me.
Not hurting him.
Man, get that shit out, Lisa. Lisa, you got it by side.
Who's laying down here recording? Wait, who is this? Who is this guy? Is he the driver? Why is there some guy just laying on the ground right there?
Nobody's hurting him.
You got it by side. I'm not moving. I'm not moving. Get the shit out my side. Get out, I ain't moving. Get out my side. Who the fuck you think you is?
No, just calm down.
I am calm. I'm not moving. I'm not moving.
All this is going
I'm not moving.
right.
They don't want to get all these motherfuckers on me. I am relaxed.
You're not rushing over. I've been trying to tell him the whole time. He just. So.
The goddamn squad.
All right, walk back here.
I ain't got shit. I ain't got nothing on me.
Right.
Big ass lawsuit. Y'all know who the fuck
Singing
I
me
am.
a
All right, let me
big ass
lock these. Hold on.
I do it myself. Don't worry
Sir,
about it.
listen.
I ain't gotta listen. But I ain't gonna listen. All y'all niggas get sued. Yo, gang.
I'm right here. I got you.
What a deal.
Francis.
I'm getting out.
You're under arrest.
I'm getting out.
I don't. That's fine.
I ain't got no
Says he's
charge.
getting
This is
out.
ridiculous.
What you mean?
You're acting like a little kid, dude.
Boy, I'll beat your ass like a grown ass man.
You're in cuffs, aren't you?
Yeah. Who's in
Don't
cuffs?
say
Have a
that.
seat.
Come on.
Sit down.
You don't know about me.
That's definitely another charge if they wanted to. You don't make threats towards police officers. That's stupid. It doesn't matter how angry you get. There's never a reason to do that.
Sit down.
UFC, nigga.
Sit the hell down.
Not very good then, huh?
One in custody, Central. Thanks.
I don't know if it's just a push pop that came out.
That was ridiculous.
That's fucking dumb as shit.
What? Like,
Yeah, that was dumb. Yeah, the classic I'm not under arrest while in handcuffs.
hey, did you get an ID?
Getting right now.
Yeah, dude, this kid, or this guy is acting like a child.
Started his fucking fight from the get-go. 32 cents. We'll have a Missouri ID for you to run. Are you good?
My finger hurts.
His finger hurts.
As soon as I walk up, dude, he's just.
He's drunk.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah. The
he
entire.
said he's
I mean, the entire time. So I asked him to stop, and then because I was trying to talk to the owner
My
of the vehicle,
drunk senses were tingling.
and then he just kept on, but he was escalating his voice.
Yeah.
So then I was like, you know what, you can step out. And he's like, nah, I ain't getting out.
Sandy says I can use this for How to Get Arrested 101. Yeah. This is like the introductory video to that class. The cop's ego got in his way, and here we are. I don't think this was not driven by ego. The cop issued a lawful order to get out of the car, and the guy refused to do so. So I don't know if that was fueled by ego. And as a matter of fact, he even said the exact case law and justification for why he was doing that. So this was lawful.
Because I have freedom of speech. I'm like, that's fine, but you're interrupting the traffic stop, what I'm trying to do. And so that escalated from that. I don't know where. You know where his ID is, the driver?
The driver?
Yeah. It was in my.
I don't have it.
I had it. It fell somewhere.
Let's get past the looking for the ID. Jesus.
Yeah, it might be under the car.
Yes.
You got the Missouri ID on you still?
No, I didn't have it. It's on the hood.
Okay, I'm going to skip forward a little bit because this looks like a bunch of administrative bullshit we're about to see. Let's see.
So we went hands on, and
What's on your pants, bro?
Oh, wait, let's go back.
gave him verbal my time to step out of the car. He said he don't want to. So she even tells him to stop.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm trying to explain to him or why he was yelling at me. And anyways, he said he don't want to.
Survive 2025 says, this is precisely why I have very mixed feelings about you, ATA. Well, Survive, I'm sorry that I'm not going to justify your biases. You can say any bad thing you want about police officers, but the guy, he was issuing a lawful order and the guy refused to obey it, and that's the objective facts of the situation. Yeah, you're free to voice your opinion here, but yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna cater to an opinion I don't agree with.
Here, he's just gonna roll his window up, and he kept on. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have you step out of the car.
Yeah.
So he's like, no, I ain't getting out of the car. I was like, sir, you're gonna get out of the car.
Yeah.
So,
well, Survive, that's the thing. The pretext for why he made that order to stop has absolutely no bearing on the legitimacy of that order. And that's the perspective that I'm looking at this from. I'm not trying to say, was the cop morally or ethically right in doing this? I'm just saying, was it right according to the law? And so far, yes, it has been lawful.
He wouldn't let me talk, wouldn't let me have my time to explain to him, and so gave him verbal commands to step out of the car.
Okay.
And he said, I'm not getting out of the car, F what you're talking about, whatever. So we went hands on, and
what's on your pants, bro?
I think I rolled in shit.
That's disgusting. That's how fancy, bro.
One of them rolled in shit.
38 something.
Okay.
So then we soft hands, get him out of the car.
Yeah.
He's still trying to pull away.
Yeah.
And that was pretty.
Again, Midas, you guys are making arguments that aren't relevant to the analysis. But if he had just ignored the drunk passenger, that's irrelevant. I mean, it doesn't matter. The fact remains that he had the lawful authority to do this thing. And the whole point of me creating this content is not to teach you guys to be biased against the police or to, hate the way that they do things. The point is to teach you how to navigate the system as it is currently understood. And I'm not trying to make a commentary on necessarily the unsaid intentions of a police officer that, we don't know that. The question here is, did he have the lawful authority to order the passenger out of the vehicle? And the answer to that is yes. And when the officer refused, he did what he was lawfully authorized to do.
Pretty much it was like, give me your hands, and he put him behind his back. So no taser deployment, no hard hands, nothing like that. No. He's obviously very intoxicated.
Is he?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's not alcohol the minute you walk up. So I guess it's just resisting arrest.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess PI. So.
Is there anything? You got anything else to call?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna talk to the driver for possible DUI.
Okay.
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to talk to the driver really.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do that, and then we'll.
Why don't y'all swap cars?
I agree with that analysis, Survive. I think it was predicated on his speech, but again, that's just an irrelevant
Before we end up
factor.
with a broken window.
You want to give me if you give me just a second, I'll talk to him and I'll get out of here.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be something.
Let me see.
So is that the driver?
Have you had anything to drink tonight?
That guy laying on the ground was the
What'd you
driver.
have?
He didn't just appear out of nowhere.
What do you call it? Smithsville.
Just one drink, 2 drinks? Okay.
Don't even say
Car smells
that.
like alcohol.
But he just bought some drinks. I don't think he opened them yet. But,
Right, but they wouldn't smell if they weren't open, you know what I'm saying?
Image Dockery says that, or Image Decray says that Pennsylvania versus Mims does not give authority to demand exit for any reason. They need reasonable suspicion that the subject is a danger, and that is incorrect. As I said earlier, Pennsylvania versus Mims, in that case, what the officer was doing was he routinely had people get out of their vehicle. And I'll swap to the face cam for this for a second. In Pennsylvania versus Mims, the whole case was about a cop who pulled everyone out of the vehicle anytime he did a traffic stop. And his reasoning behind that was that he felt that it was just an overall safer environment if he could extract the driver or whoever from the vehicle and have a conversation with them on the shoulder of the road versus standing at the side of their window. And the court agreed with that. And they said that asking a driver to get out of a vehicle is a minimal Fourth Amendment intrusion, and when weighed against the state's interest in effectuating a traffic stop, that it doesn't actually violate your Fourth Amendment if the officer just asks you to exit your vehicle. You're confusing that with the Gant case, which we talked about a little bit earlier, which said that officers do need some kind of reasonable suspicion that someone might be armed or dangerous. And I'm using reasonable suspicion in a loose way there. It doesn't even have to meet that standard. They just have to have some kind of suspicion that the person they want to search or do a frisk on might be armed and dangerous. Totally different case.
So that's the reason I'm asking, okay? I haven't really had a chance to talk to you. Anyways, Deputy Stanfield Sheriff's Office.
Survive says, and I meant no disrespect by saying I had mixed feelings about you. I generally respect your work. I just don't always agree with your stance, which is okay. And I agree with that. Look, I invite guys, anyone, you can come in here and say whatever you want to me. I'm not going to get offended by it. If you don't like anything I say, then feel free to let me know that. You're not gonna bother me. So even if you do have a different opinion or some kind of mixed feelings about me, that's fine. I mean, we live in a free country. You can think whatever you want to about other people. Sorry, I forgot to swap back to the video when I was doing this. Midas says, I don't think the passenger interfered with the stop. I believe the cop should be able to ignore a mouthy passenger. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I do think that it was unnecessary to pull him out of the vehicle from just a practical perspective. But at the same time, we're looking at the lawfulness of this encounter, and it wasn't illegal.
Told you why I stopped you. All right.
Yes, sir.
Are you okay with doing field sobriety? Just trying to make sure you're not impaired.
But if you like to.
You okay with that? All right.
Don't
Get
agree
these
to that
front lights
either.
out of your face.
Jesus.
If you can stand right here for me. You stand right here for me. All right. Do you have any contacts in? Anything like that? Okay. Prescription.
We're not going to watch this guy do field sobriety tests. I don't think he's intoxicated.
Test.
Fuck everybody up in that car, though.
You know what?
So that would have fucked everybody up in the car.
Yeah, true.
I'm guessing they're talking
They
about
told them
pepper
that you got a
spraying
warrant. That's the
right
reason why
there.
you're fighting.
No.
I'll go tell her.
I'll tell her.
Don't lose that. You can't get loose.
No, it's on the magnet.
The power director reminds you of Big Nick. Yeah. Reminds me of a lot of people in the early days.
Miss Nash?
Yes.
Who is he to you?
That's my brother.
Your brother? Okay. So your brother has warrants.
And he has warrants?
Arrestable warrants out of Tennessee.
He has warrants and he was talking all that shit to the cops? Jesus Christ, guys. This is ultimate stupidity right here, in my opinion. This is the dumbest shit ever. Again, he was drunk. So I've done dumb shit like this when I was drunk too. So I get it. I mean, you don't act yourself when you're drunk, but Jesus Christ. He had warrants that whole time and wanted to talk shit. Oh my God. Pearl says, John Lang, on a personal note, thanks for introducing me to Tim Henson. Incredible. Yeah, I agree. He's a fantastic musician. If you guys could please drop a like, that would help this stream out a lot. And I'm sorry I keep saying that over and over. But yeah, why would you even say anything to the police officers if you have a warrant? Jesus Christ. This is the worst way to, this is officially how to get arrested 101.
Out of Tennessee?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess he had a case that he didn't show up to court for. So
well,
I don't know if that's the way if that's why he's acting the way he's acting. None of this needed to happen. This is ridiculous.
I agree with
this is ridiculous.
I agree with because everything is legal and everything is registered on this car.
Okay, everything is not legal on this car. The window tint is illegal. Okay.
He tried.
I have the look.
I know you showed me 23.
I'm gonna show you again. Okay.
There's the secondary.
Now it's 24, maybe because of my light.
You see what I'm saying?
23, 24, okay?
24.
But it's still illegal.
Honestly, they told me they were legal. They said they couldn't go any darker for it.
And I done had this car since 18, and I've been driving around Gallatin all this time, and nobody said nothing about my tint except for you.
See, that's what I'm talking about the arbitrary thing about tint, too, because like she just said, I've had this on my car for a long time, and no one's ever stopped me. Yeah. And yeah, that's a good point, Bill. He said, this cop just said that the light changed the sensor reading. So I'm starting to wonder if doing this reading at night might have an impact on the device's ability to actually determine, you know, what the actual percentage is. She said since 2018. So it's been years of her driving around with this tint and no one saying anything. But then at any moment in time, it could be used as an excuse for something like this to happen.
Okay. Well, I guess, I mean, I can't stop every car with window tint.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I understand it, but I done had this car since 18.
Gotcha. You've never been stopped for the window tint?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
That was a birthday gift for me. Look, no. And it was legal. Like, see, now he pissing me off. And I'm the sister. I'm about ready to put my foot up his ass myself.
Double B says that.
I mean,
now she's admitting to committing a crime for a long time.
All right.
He pissing me off. You see what I'm saying? I don't like ignorant shit because we could have been gone and on our way. And I got a grandbaby to pick up the street. They got to get home in the bed. She just said he have a nosebleed. He got food in the morning.
All right. Well, we're almost done here.
Y'all do
I'm gonna give you
ID and stuff, right?
I never got your ID, no ma'am. I only got yours, and it's somewhere. I found it.
Where is it?
Could you write a warning
for the Winston?
Yeah.
This guy looks like a kid. This guy looks so young. Is that just me?
Could you?
This guy looks like a Boy Scout. Maybe I'm just tripping.
Could you write a warning
for the Winston?
Yeah. Sorry, because he's been a problem.
Yeah. Is there any way y'all can turn him loose?
No, he has warrants. That's why he's acting the way he's acting.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
he has warrants. Yeah. Oh, he does?
Yeah.
He just wants to know if you'll turn his phone off.
Do what?
He wants you to turn his phone off. I don't.
Okay.
Called me just a few minutes ago. Yeah, he didn't go to court on a DUI. Here or St. Louis?
Oh my God, he had another he had a DUI.
Yep. All right. Let me get him to the jail. I think there's some warning.
Okay, sounds good.
That way he doesn't kick out a window.
That don't have nothing to do with me. Why? How would I know that? And why would I?
So I'm gonna. All right. Okay. And then y'all will be on your way. All right.
Oh, so he's not going to arrest the white guy for the potential DUI after admitting to drinking. Maybe he did good on the field sobriety test, so he didn't watch.
What?
I guess you got another one coming.
What?
Blue team.
I know. This is.
Look how many police officers are here. We've seen at least like 6, just for nothing.
Hey, you girls are getting back to the car?
Yeah, fine.
4 cars.
Are you okay with that, or I can?
Not gonna.
He's
2 minutes.
I don't know if he's gonna start up again. That's the yes.
Okay. All right, we're gonna click out of that one. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Honestly, I'm there's nothing about it that I really have to say as far as the legality. I think that it was pretty lawful. And obviously, you know, I'm coming to the conclusion that that was How to Get Arrested 101. That's just me. So I think the big takeaways from that are don't tint your windows. Don't talk shit to cops while you have a warrant. And don't refuse a lawful order to get out of your vehicle. What do you guys think? Rojai says there's so many officers that show up every time. Yeah, big waste of resources in my opinion. Francis says bored cops are the ones you need to be careful around. Yeah, that's true. And there's a lot of bored cops because there's not as much crime as people want you to think, at least not in small towns like in Tennessee. Eric says legally legit. The cop was kind of petty, but backseat guy caused his own trouble. I agree with that. The cop was kind of petty. I think, you know, although I'm sitting here saying that the order to get out was lawful, I don't think it was necessary. And I don't think it really served any purpose beyond, you know, escalating the encounter. Let's see. Double B says, y'all shouldn't y'all be at the donut shop? It is pretty late. Sandy says, and stay out of my birth state. They are out looking for DUIs. Yeah, I'm going to do an episode of something eventually on DUI cases, because I did talk about this briefly on the ATA episode about the Rusty getting arrested, about how there has been a just insane amount of false DUI arrests over the course of the last couple of years in particular. And I think in Tennessee, they had like over 600 cases dismissed that were related to DUI charges. I think most of those were on, I think most of those were because of the way that the evidence and the field sobriety tests were done. I can't remember though. It's been a few weeks since I read that article. Let's see, what else do we got here? Yeah, okay, this is something I kind of wanted to talk about. So this is a video that I uploaded of the last stream that we did, and it was the one covering Justin Spy's encounter, and it involved the No Kings protest and all that. And at the beginning of that video, I tried to kind of give like a very cursory overview of what the No Kings protest is. And granted, I don't really know that much about it because this is not a topic that I follow very closely. But it seems like people got, like, I have no backbone to say what this protest is about, and I'm very wishy-washy with no guts. Apparently, just trying to be apolitical makes you political somehow in this day and age, which is a little ridiculous to me. And I made the point, you know, I only know as much as I know, and that these guys are acting like ideological babies. I just want to say to this guy and this guy that not everything has to fit into your political ideology box, brother. You can consume content and have relationships with people without knowing anything about their politics, and that doesn't take away from anything that they say or do, okay? So if you can only see the world through the lens of your political identity, that's your problem, not mine. So just take that into consideration. Anyway, I don't want to get too lost on that. Just wanted to kind of mention it because I feel like it's important. I'm sure at some point during these live streams, you guys will hear some of my political beliefs. And that's going to just come through the nature of this format. But that doesn't mean I'm going to go out of my way to be political, you know? And the point of watching that episode wasn't to make a political statement. It was just to judge the lawfulness of a police interaction. If you want to know the truth, I'll give you a little bit of insight into my political beliefs right now. I don't feel as though my beliefs and my structures are represented in politics by nearly anyone. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not a fan of any of the presidents that we've had in my lifetime. We could go back, I'm not a big fan of Obama. I wasn't a big fan of George W. I mean, who the fuck was? I wasn't a fan of Bill Clinton. I haven't been a fan of any president in my entire life, and I don't feel like I've been represented on a political stage at any point by anyone. So when you ask me about my political beliefs, I'm pretty nihilistic when it comes to that stuff. I don't really believe that I'm going to find a person or a group of people who believe the same exact thing that I do, and that's going to become my new group of people, my new ideology. I have a lot of different beliefs that come from both sides of the political spectrum, and they kind of are a mosh posh of ideas. They don't lean into one side or the other. And I don't view my political identity as part of one side or the other. So if you think I hate Trump, you're wrong. If you think I love Trump, you're wrong. If you think I am a Republican, you're wrong. If you think I'm a Democrat, you're wrong. I'm just a person living in this whole system. That's it. And no, I'm not a libertarian. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a communist. I don't subscribe to any particular political ideology or economic framework. I think that there is no system that can't be ultimately corrupted by people's will for power. And no matter what ideology or system we have in place, power is always going to consolidate upwards in the hierarchy. So I have my problems with democracy as much as I have my problems with communism or any other point of system or any other system or political ideology or economic system. I think capitalism has a lot of flaws, but it's definitely not as bad as communism. There's just pros and cons to all of these things. And when you're someone like me who wants to just, exist with my own beliefs instead of having to compromise one belief for the other and ascribe myself to some kind of political ideology, that's not what you're going to get here. You're not going to get that here. So my political beliefs, they almost never influence anything that I do because I don't weigh them very heavily. I have my own personal principles and ideas, and they don't fall in line with any party. And that's it. That's my fucking political beliefs. So if you want to get butthurt about me for having those political beliefs, that's your problem, not mine. Here. Well said. Thank you. Thank you for the support on that. I appreciate it. That was an unnecessary rant, but I felt compelled to say it. So there it is. Peter says, I very much dislike when people tell me to, sorry, I lost you. I very much dislike when people tell me to give a like, so I didn't until now. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate you giving me a like. I feel like Midas says, I feel like people with your political views have missed the bigger picture. Hey, maybe so. I could say the same thing about your political views. That's just a preference. Thomas says, how dare you? Yeah, how dare me have my own ideas. That's true. Double B says, well said. Thank you. Pariah said, it's a rare mindset. It's a critical thinking mindset. Big facts. Thank you, Pariah. I don't want to categorize it as any particular thing. Maybe it is a critical thinking mindset. I don't know. I just know that I'm not, going to allow a certain idea or political speech to dictate how I think about something. Oh yeah, no disrespect at all, Midas. John says he pulled up that soapbox out of the closet. Yeah, I kind of did because it's been weighing on me the past couple of days. Thinking about like the implications of posting things that are politically related. It's going to bring out people who just accuse you of whatever, not being on their side. If we go back to the comments on that video, you would see that there are equally as many comments saying that I'm being an asshole by not supporting the fact or not acknowledging the fact that ICE is, doing all this bullshit that they're doing. But yeah, that wasn't relevant at all to the video. That's why I didn't mention it. So apparently there's no way to exist on the internet and be apolitical. It's just not possible. But yeah. Anyway, I do have a couple more videos if you guys want to check them out. This is a really interesting one. So I didn't watch all of this. I did watch some of it just to kind of see if it would be interesting or not. Maybe we shouldn't get off the political thing yet. People are still talking about it. I think Lewis Black said it best. A Democrat will stand up and yell, "I've got a shitty idea." And then a Republican will stand up and say, "But I can make it shittier." Yeah, I think that's really good. Domineer, thank you for the $5, man. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. And he says, politics is supposed to be the second oldest profession. I've come to realize that it bears a very close resemblance to the first. He's referring to prostitution for anyone who may not have gotten that. That's really good. Mr. Garbage says, if you were biased, I wouldn't be able to watch this. Yeah, I understand that. And I feel the same way. I wouldn't be able to watch my own content. I couldn't even make this content any other way. This is just literally it's the fabric of who I am. Double B says, the problem is that when you describe something to people, when you describe something, people expect you to tell them how they feel about it. Yeah, and that's not what I'm here to do, guys. I'm not here to tell you how to feel about anything. You can believe whatever you want. You can think I'm an asshole for telling you that right now. It is what it is. I mean, no skin off my back. Everyone has preferential ways of interpreting ideas and content, so I'm sure I'll piss off a lot of people along the way of not acknowledging political things and not really dipping my toes into that water. Waffle Cone says, you've got the perfect voice for it as well. Thank you. Timothy says, our side's the good side, their side's the good side, says everyone on all sides. Yeah. Bill says, I support the right to protest without regard to what is being protested. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I guess if I were to identify myself with any kind of real political ideology, I guess I would be like a constitutionalist in a way, because I certainly believe that, and honestly, Donald Trump has really not been favorable to that perspective. So, and to be clear, I did not vote in the last several elections because of that ideology. I just don't feel like I'm represented by anyone on the stage to be voted for, So I'm just not going to vote. That's my active choice. It's more of an act of defiance than anything, because there's no candidate that I feel has my particular interests at stake or wants my vote. So no one's going to get it. You got to work for that. Sandy says, I refuse to choose the lesser of two evils as well. And that's kind of where we're at in politics, right? That's where we've been at for my whole life. And for many, many other millennials that are my age. It's just kind of, it's always been the lesser of two evils. And I hate that. Lobo Oso says, that's selfishness. I don't think it's selfish. You have a right to vote, not a like duty. You're not required to vote. You could say that there's some kind of loose patriotic duty, but that's just a preferential idea. There's no obligation to vote. And in fact, not being forced to vote is an American thing. It's you having the choice of whether or not you want to vote is part of what makes this country so good. There are countries like Australia, for example, I believe, forces you to vote. So that's something to consider about, or something to think about. The Pariah says, give me a good option and I'll vote. And yeah, that's how I feel as well. If there was a candidate who I felt represented my ideologies, at least closely, and I felt that they were actually an authentic person who would do things to effectuate those ideologies, then I would go vote for them in a heartbeat. So fast. I would advocate for them openly. But there's just no one there. There's no one like that. Let's see. AJ says, indeed, John, mandatory voting down here in Australia. That's what I thought. I'm pretty sure, yeah. You're required to vote in Australia. And I think that that's kind of ridiculous. Like that is anti-freedom. The government shouldn't force you to partake in its bullshit. But what do I want? That's a long, what do I want from a political candidate is a very long discussion. I mean, there's so many things. Honestly, the thing that I want the most is authenticity. I would like to know that they actually mean what they say. And it seems like the political environment that we've created as a country doesn't lend itself well to that. It's either like you create a big splash and you get a lot of attention and then that's how you find your way into office, or you've been in office for the last 50 years. Dominator says, those who are too smart to engage in politics are punished by being governed by those who are dumber. And that is Plato. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. But again, I don't think that that necessarily applies to people like me who share this, feeling of not being represented in politics, because it's not that I am too smart to engage in politics. That's not where it comes from. It's that I feel like my principles as a man and as a person, as a citizen in this country are not represented on the political stage. Double B says, I couldn't agree more. They are all bought. And yeah, super PACs, Citizens United. I mean, like there's been legislative efforts that have actively contributed to the state of our current politics. So when there's a politician who actually says what they mean and does what they say, then I will have a lot more respect for them, regardless of whether or not they, believe the same things that I do. John Lang, do you believe in common law? Bob says, because a lot of your videos cover USC, which goes against constitutional law. No, I don't think that that's true. Common law is constitutional law, or else it wouldn't be common law. Let's see. Bill Thomas says, when we can see other parties as the loyal opposition instead of the enemy, we will do better. Yeah, that's another thing. And another reason why I don't engage in these political, this arena is because like there's no way that a reasonable voice can be heard. There's no room for regular people to have opinions. It's either you're wrong or you're right. There's no nuance in politics anymore. And that's tragic because that's what politics was supposed to be about. Yeah, it's about loyalty now. It's not about like having principles. Dominator says, thank you for the $5, man. And thank you for the other donation as well. I really appreciate that. How come we choose from just 2 people to run for president and 50 for a Miss America? That's a good point. And yeah, I think that we would definitely benefit from a system that introduced new parties. And I believe Elon Musk even said something recently about, he's been having disagreements with Trump lately, and he thinks he's going to run as a third party candidate, which is interesting because, like I was just saying, a lot of politics is dictated by how popular you are. And Elon is one of the most popular people on the planet. So I could definitely see him having a real chance. But that's not an endorsement, by the way. I don't like Elon that much. I think he's a fucking idiot, to be frank. A lot of the shit he says and does is just stupid. And I also kind of don't believe his whole story about being this super hardworking genius that, founded these companies and shit like that. So, I don't know. I would not vote for Elon. I'll say that. But I like the idea of a third-party candidate being like an actual possibility for the American people, you know? Yeah, a lot of people are saying that he can't run because he's not American. But he could get his citizenship here and then potentially run. Or wait, do you have to be born in America to run for president? Does anybody know that? Because it was... Yeah, I don't think so. Wait, some people are saying yes, some people are saying no. All right, you guys are going to make me look this up. Here we go. Do you have to be born in America to be president? No, you don't have to be born in the United States to be president. While the Constitution mandates that a president must be a natural-born citizen, this includes those who became citizens at birth in the U.S. or through U.S. citizen parents, even if born outside the U.S. So, okay, there's a natural-born clause. Get out of my face. A person born outside to American parents can be natural born. This, okay, it's basically saying you do have to be an American when you are born. And you can be born outside of the borders as long as you're born as an American. That doesn't sound right. Yeah, maybe it's not right. Well, here's the .gov website. You have to be a natural-born citizen. You have to be, and you have to have been a resident for 14 years. Michael says, a person except a natural-born citizen or citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible. Yeah. It looks like you do have to be born as an American, so I don't think that Elon would qualify. But that's not to say that he couldn't just get some talking head that, you know, everyone knows to do exactly, you know, basically be a proxy candidate. Pearl Rival says, a good example of this is a military child being born in South Korea is still a U.S. citizen. Yeah, I could see that. Brock says, survive 2025. Nope, just a citizen regardless of where you're born. Thomas says that Elon won't be eligible, and that seems like that's the case. Pearl says he could still be the Speaker of the House with enough money to buy them all. Yeah, well, he could do that anyway. I think he has enough money to buy whatever politician he wants. I mean, he basically, I don't know if you guys remember, but in Trump's first term, Elon was very Democratic, or I'm sorry, very liberal. And he seemed to not really like Trump that much. And then it's kind of weird that he did a full about face and totally changed his perspective after buying Twitter and all of that. I think that there's no denying that Elon has something to gain from Trump being president, or at least he thought he did. Thomas Taylor says it's Russian influence. I mean, I don't know about that. I don't think that. What could you possibly like dangle in front of Elon Musk's face to get him to be a Russian asset? I just don't know what motivation he would have for that. Ashley says that he was trying to get the EV mandate in the big beautiful bill, which that very well could have been his intentions. I really do think that he had he obviously saw some sort of advantage to getting involved in politics, because I mean, as a CEO of a major company, it's like basically career suicide to open yourself up like that. Double B says JD Vance is only vice president because he has a tech bro connection. That maybe so. I don't know. Overkill says, I thought we were watching police videos, and he's right. We should be watching police videos. We're getting on a tangent with political bullshit, which is not what I wanted to do. Sorry. Yes, we can return to police videos right now. And this is an interesting one. So this video, I watched just a little bit of it, and it seemed like it was like kind of like a documentary, but it's short. It's only like 20 minutes long. And it has to do with an attorney general, not, you know, and a former judge, which not necessarily a police interaction, but still something very like parallel to that I think would be relevant to watch. And this is the kind of like extended coverage that I wanted to do on this channel in the first place. All right, guys. I'm going to try to leave the political topics alone. Let's check this out and see what's up.
The past 4 years, the Attorney General's office has used Marlboro County court time and the county grand jury to create multiple criminal prosecutions following Queen City News investigations. Despite the taxpayer time and money spent here, the South Carolina Attorney General has walked away from Marlboro County without logging a single conviction.
If he turn around, pop it to him. Give him what he asked for. Shut the door.
Why are you going to try to run away in the jail, bro?
The first prosecution happened in December 2021.
Get in there. If I had one last, talk to him.
After we uncovered this video
totally
of former Marlboro
unnecessary.
County Sheriff Charles Lemon ordering his deputy Andrew Cook to shock an inmate multiple times. The county grand jury indicted Lemon and Cook each on one count of felony assault and misconduct in office charges. Anything you want to say about these indictments? The governor suspended the sheriff from office the day of the indictments. The state's charges stood for 2 years until the feds indicted Lemon and Cook on a federal civil rights charge in January 2024. Instead of the AG prosecuting its own assault and misconduct charges, the AG's office dropped those state cases and never pursued those prosecutions.
Oh, of
Former
course.
Deputy Cook pleaded guilty to the federal charge.
So the state, who is, you know, obviously who he actually works for, dropped the charges, but the federal charges, which is a totally, you know, a separate entity, stuck. That says a lot, doesn't it, about whose side the state's on with something like this.
Just heard not guilty.
And the feds tried Lemon in August 2024 on the civil rights violation. But the federal jury acquitted Lemon, finding federal prosecutors did not prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt.
And she came out.
Oh my gosh, she beat the federal charges too. Jesus. I'm sure that having those state charges immediately dismissed did not help the federal case.
Room, and she had the gun.
Show me how she had it.
She had it in her hand like this. And I looked and I went back and I fell. And that's when my daughter came out of the room and she had the gun right to my face and was like, I'll shoot you, Shonda.
Shonda Nash was the victim in the second AG prosecution in Marlboro County. She was Tammy Bullock's roommate in 2021 when Nash says she and Bullock, who was holding office as the county's deputy probate judge at the time, got into an argument in their rental home when Bullock threatened to shoot and kill her. Ms. Bullock, is there anything you want to say? Bennettsville police immediately charged Bullock with pointing and presenting a firearm.
This lady
then
does not
later
like
turned
a
the
cop.
prosecution over to the AG's office. The Attorney General,
She got
Alan
arrested.
Wilson himself, hand-signed the indictment against Bullock. The case sat untouched for 3.5 years before the AG dropped the prosecution in May of 2025.
See, this is another thing that they do is like, if they know they don't have a case, instead of just immediately dismissing the charges, they'll draw it out for the longest, as long as they possibly can. They'll file stupid motions on dumb bullshit, come up with reasons why they need to reschedule the court hearings, and they'll just drag it out, leaving whoever is charged in this state of panic for literally years. And at any moment, the next time they go to court could be the time they go to jail. As far as they know, because most of these people they're not, legally educated, so they don't know what's going on. Yeah, this is classic bullshit techniques from prosecutors right here.
And perhaps one of the most memorable of all our Marlboro County investigations.
The pariah says, when does the right to a speedy trial come into play? It immediately. But what they mean by a speedy trial just means that, like, it has to be reasonable based on, like, the whatever they have going on in the courts. A speedy trial could mean 3 years sometimes. So it's it's shitty, but that's just the way our court system is so backed up. That's just how it goes.
Final disrespects. The State Law Enforcement Division spent a year investigating theft allegations against multiple people captured on security camera recordings from a Marlboro County home in January 2021. Hollis Slade suffered days with stomach pains and called EMS for help. He died a few hours later. Then, his friend showed up. All the while, Hollis Slade's wife, Joyce, was inside. Joyce suffers from severe dementia. Her family told us today she has little to no memory of the people and what Hollis Slade security cameras captured over the next 24 hours. Within minutes of Hollis's death, his friends and former co-workers, Will Adams, Ricky Gardner, Charlotte Green, and her son, Matthew Tomlinson, arrived. Will Adams started working the phone and his sources.
Hey.
And the group knew then Joyce Slade, a brand new widow, was alone and vulnerable.
We've already told her in the last hour 15 times that Hollis has passed away. She can't remember.
The videos show Adams calling a coroner for some reason, working to get possession of Hollis Slade's body, and getting legal advice from attorney Jason Luck, who is now a member of the South Carolina House.
I got you. So what's really happening now is you've got what we call a vulnerable adult. Correct. Needs protection.
The recording showed the group knew Hollis had family who could take care of Joyce and the things Hollis left behind.
Brother, everything will go to her and ask her. That's right. Well, it's Hollis' sister, but they're on the way. They're going to be here.
What are these guys plotting? I'm not picking up what's going on.
And it didn't take long before the talk of and the hunt for Hollis's will started.
I just don't know if he ain't never finalized. Maybe he did.
Well, his sister's supposed to be here.
That's Tammy Bullock.
We all taking turns rummaging through stuff.
Who was the appointed Marlboro County Deputy Probate Judge at the time.
So, if anything comes up and you need to...
KP Nation says, John Lang, the law enforcement has forgot what the definition of Independence Day is about. Do you think they will be reminded one day? I think they're reminded occasionally. Whenever they get hit with serious lawsuits, they remember people have individual liberty. Jay Abate says, this one will make me sick. Yeah, I'm starting to get that feeling about this too. Are these people about to steal all this guy's shit after he just died and has a vulnerable wife?
You let them know that his secretary for the past 30 years is now a probate judge, and if they need him.
And Bullock was also accused of stealing from Hollis and Joyce Slade.
I don't know what they're going to do with all the dogs.
Well, we're going to take care of that.
If brother and sister come in here and they got the power,
It's kind of like you got $2,000 worth of tracking collars sitting in there.
What about all the money in the bank?
It's unreal.
And I'm telling
you, 401k stack.
It's not your fucking business about all the money in the bank. What the hell?
And the recording show Ricky Gardner didn't. Slade's family believes this box was full of those $2,000 in dog collars. And that box was similar to the empty ones in Hollis's closet that held those Garmin collars. Documents show Ricky Gardner did own some of the collars, but when Hollis's family arrived...
Okay, these are the boxes that proves that Hollis had collars. See, this is a whole entire set right here. That's the TT10s.
Does anybody know what
And
these
it also
collars
has
are
the dogs'
for?
names
Is it
on them,
hunting?
too. The Alpha and the Astros
Oh yeah, must be.
GPSs are gone with the collars, but it's still another set that's missing. Yeah, they're every bit of $800. When
Oh,
he
I was
said
about to ask how much
$2,000
do those
worth,
cost.
he was correct.
Where I hate to leave all this.
It's gonna be sad if somebody else comes.
Oh, listen to that justification. It's going to be sad if someone else gets it besides us. No, it's not. Leave it the fuck alone.
Have it. He didn't want them to have it. I know he didn't want them to have it. I heard him say it.
Slade's cameras captured his friends carrying boxes of property out and loading them into Ricky Gardner's truck. The recording showed Charlotte Green and Tammy Bullock plundering through Hollis's truck.
Oh, me and Tammy got 4 packs of cigarettes out there, so we figured he didn't need them no more.
I know where a whole bunch
And later that night, Bullock, Green, and
friends.
Green's son, Matthew Tomlinson, gathered to discuss what they found, even keeping something they found from Hollis's loved ones who were rushing to Marlboro County.
I said, I'm not going to leave this money sitting in that house for complete strangers to come away.
No, I'm going to take it and spend it.
I said, you got to be paid? I said, you got to be paid? Oh, yeah. It's so stupid. It's his retirement. It's like almost $200,000.
Almost 200 grand?
They stole from Mr. Hollis.
Linda Hood was Joy Slade's caretaker.
They were ripping the man off, and he hadn't even got cold.
Bullock and Company couldn't
He
keep
hadn't
her
even
from
got
knowing
cold,
how
she
much
said.
cash was in the house when they got there.
And I took Miss Joyce's money and Hollis's money, because she didn't go nowhere. I did all that. And I put it in a sandwich bag, one of the quarts or the gallons. It was the big one.
How big would you estimate the bag with your hands?
Southern
how big
grandma
was it?
About
coming
like
in
this.
clutch.
It was one of the big ones, and it was loaded with money.
A gallon bag.
A gallon bag.
In August 2020,
You can tell a woman like that doesn't have any use for $200,000. She's just living her life.
3. SLED filed grand larceny charges against Tammy Bullock and Charlotte Green. Investigators accused them of stealing Hollis's cash, a gun, and
Oh, me and Tammy got 4 packs of cigarettes out there, so we figured he didn't need them no more.
those cigarettes out of his truck and home, a home where Joy Slade sat, grieving
so
her
sad.
husband's death, with people coming in and out. Coming up.
Do you
She
think
just
the
had no
fact
idea
that
what
Tammy
was going
Bullock
on.
was a public official carried any weight through the course of this investigation?
Absolutely. I'm not privy to the specific facts of that case. Have
Well,
a
how
good
about
day.
this? The victims in the Hollis Slade case say that you...
Oh, I love it when journalists stick a mic in somebody's face that don't want it there, especially when they're a public official. That's getting a door shut on you is like it's a hazing ritual for journalists. If you haven't had a door shut in your face as a journalist, you're not doing your job right.
This is Joel.
Hi, Joel. This is Beth Bowling calling you back.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
It's
I'm
going
doing
well.
fine. How are you?
I'm doing well. Okay, so I just kind of wanted to update you a little bit because you aren't necessarily a victim yet because she hasn't been charged.
In September 2022, Hollis's sister Beth Bowling finally got the AG's lead prosecutor Joel Kozak on the phone. Kozak seemed to have no doubt he'd be prosecuting multiple people in those videos.
Who are you thinking of doing charges on? Tammy or?
I'm not sure. We're looking at everyone.
Okay.
Everyone in the report. So yeah, there's no one that I would assume if we're going to charge, it's going to be all of them.
Okay.
I can't see why we would not charge some of them. If we were going to not charge some people, then why would we charge anyone, right? So
Yeah,
next,
right. Exactly.
We'll reach out to you, and then we'll talk more about like the resolution and stuff after that happens. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, we.
Michael says, at what point does ambush journalism become stalking? Well, we have clear delineations about that in stalking statutes, so that's whenever it violates a stalking statute. But if you have a legitimate public interest that you're trying to report on, it's going to be kind of difficult to prove that you're stalking, especially if it's a public official. So I don't think that would be a legitimate, And it wouldn't, just to add to what Randor is saying here, which is that when you show up at their house at 3 a.m., that's stalking. Not necessarily if you only do it one time. Usually for most stalking statutes, it requires multiple times of making contact or, spying on someone or something to that effect. It usually requires more than one instance.
We haven't forgotten about it. We're not letting it disappear or anything. I just want to let you know that.
Okay, that's great. 'Cause, I mean, as you've probably seen, that's happened to us several times.
Oh, I mean that's happened to a few of my cases too, so I get it. So it's not just sitting around.
Okay, well, I didn't think you were. I just hadn't heard any more, because we have so much other documentation if needed.
Right.
That if I just didn't know where you were or where you were going, but you are looking towards.
Well, I mean, I don't think we need anything else to establish.
So she's trying her best to give them a case.
That doesn't mean we won't get it later when we're trying to. I mean,
give them all the evidence.
If we end up charging, I couldn't see. I mean, I don't see why this would be a trial or anything, but you never know.
But almost everything the AG's office told Beth Bowling would happen never actually happened. Of all the people depicted in the videos, only Charlotte Green and Tammy Bullock were ever charged. In November 2024, without any notification to the public, AG Alan Wilson's office dropped the theft charge against Charlotte Green. A judge then ordered the clerk's office to destroy every record of Green's arrest and prosecution.
What?
And in late May 2025, the AG made the same deal for Tammy Bullock. You won't find any trace of those criminal case files inside the Marlboro County Courthouse ever again.
How did you find out about that disposition in the Tammy Bullock prosecution?
Getting contact from you. I got no word from anybody. In fact, they stopped talking to me many months ago.
Did you have any idea from the Attorney General's office at all, or anybody in your family, that was going to happen?
No.
Are you kidding me now? They were literally on the phone. She has the recording of them telling her, not only do we not need your evidence, but we're almost certain that this is going to, come to some sort of conviction. Insanity. How could you possibly reverse that decision? There's only one explanation, this is disgusting. And this right here is why, it's difficult to advocate for taking things through the court system, because this is a legitimate critique of ATA, is that I'm often saying you need to sort out everything that you're dealing with, every police interaction in the courts. But here we go. Look, this is what happens when you try to take things through the courts.
No idea whatsoever.
Hollis's sister rushed in from Indiana and met Tammy Bullock and company at her brother's home the day after his death. Bowling says the videos were proof the group tried to hide things from the family from the start.
We just need to be nice. We don't need to talk finances. We don't need to say we turned the house upside down today trying to find the wheel.
So Charlotte's walking over.
Oh my God,
Tammy's head.
They're just sitting there admitting to it on camera. How could they not possibly be? I mean, what more evidence could you possibly need to know that a crime happened here?
Right there. Tammy's still in the truck and Charlotte's over. And now they're both looking in the truck.
What need would a staff in the probate judge's office have to be going through someone's truck?
I can't even imagine that she would have a need to go through his truck.
Bowling was Hollis's personal representative, guiding his estate through the probate court and finding permanent care for Joyce. She was also the one who contacted law enforcement and fought to have the theft allegations investigated. The state eventually named Joyce's nephew, Kevin Feyotis, as her legal guardian. They're now living in Florida.
The only communication I believe that Kevin had with them is when Tammy was charged and then she was released on her own. The charge was still there, but she was being released.
So you spoke with Kevin after I informed you of the charge being dismissed?
I did.
And he still had no idea that was coming?
Correct.
Kevin Feyotis told me the same thing in multiple phone conversations.
Really, I didn't think it would do any good to report it. I didn't think they would do anything to her.
And don't forget Shonda Nash. She was listed as the statutory victim in the Tammy Bullock weapons prosecution. Nash also confirmed she never once heard from the AG's office about Bullock's dismissal until I called her days after. I found out about it after I searched the courthouse for it.
There's not a lot
the AG spokesman, Robert Kittle, told me the office absolutely contacted every victim And he claims the agency has paperwork the victims signed, giving their blessings to dismissing Charlotte
well,
Green
let's see it
and
then.
Tammy Bullock's charges. The AG refused to show us those victims'
Oh,
signatures.
what do you know?
I was on the ground and she was over me like this.
They refused
Shonda
to
Nash
show
and
it.
Kevin Feodos both told me they absolutely did not ever sign anything allowing the AG to dismiss those charges.
For the AG to
All right, hold on a second. David Benjamin says LIA is a loser. I'm assuming you're talking about Long Island Audit. I don't know why you would think that. I don't think he's a loser. I think he's actually a pretty decent auditor compared to a lot of the auditors in the scene. Johnny Depp says the fat lady looked like Benjamin Franklin. she does look like Benjamin Franklin, doesn't she? Pariah says, I guarantee that the people here that have dealt with a relative with dementia are extra pissed right now. All I see is my grandma getting robbed and it makes me angry. Yeah, my grandma also had dementia and that's how she passed away. And that's exactly, it's bringing up those same exact feelings. Like, when you have someone in your household that's particularly vulnerable, you have to be vigilant all the time about someone trying to take advantage of them. It's almost like taking care of a child because you can't let them just be on the phone. You can't let them watch certain things because they may end up in a spell where they're thinking it's real. I remember the last time I saw my grandmother, I went into the hospital because she'd been hospitalized from a fall. And she was not doing good. She was on her way out. But I walked into the room alone, and she said, I thank God you're here. There's dead people everywhere. And I was like, what are you talking about, Grandma? She said, there was a train crash, and there's so many dead people out there. She's like, did you see those people that got decapitated? See, she was in a full-blown hallucination that there had been a major train accident and that there were dead bodies laying around the hospital room she was in. So that tells you like kind of where their mind is at in these situations, that they're not existing in the same plane of reality as everyone else. And it takes a dedicated person to make sure that they're okay. And to see state representatives doing this, taking advantage of someone like that, is absolutely disgusting. Oh, hey, Rusty. Look, everyone in the chat, that Tina and Rusty M. This is Rusty Moore. I hit like. Thank you for showcasing my stop on your ATA channel. Rusty, if you rewind this live, we were actually talking about you earlier, man, and about your GoFundMe. So thank you. Thank you for going through that, and I'm glad that we could help you out, and I hope that that money it serves you well, you and your family well. Jay Abate says maybe she was seeing spirits. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't have a strong spiritual convictions either. Very much, my thoughts on that are very similar to my thoughts on politics, so I don't know one way or another. Thomas Taylor says that that's not a fun way to live. Yeah, it certainly isn't. It's not a fun way to live for anyone involved in that, especially not the person with the disease, but it also takes a toll on the people around them as well. Johnny Death says someone 75 years old coming in to wire $20,000 to someone in another country believing it was their grandson or whoever was in trouble. Yeah, I've seen videos like that before of, these scammers taking advantage of people with, those kind of diseases and stuff. And it's just so, how do you live with yourself? How do you live with yourself if that's your career? Like, do you have just no self-respect? You have, yeah, I could rant all day about people like that. Anyway, let's get back into this video.
To say that, and for you all, Kevin Feodos, to say that didn't happen, do you feel like the Attorney General of the state of South Carolina may be calling you all liars at this point?
Yes. Yeah, it does sound like, they're lying, but they're saying that we're lying, that we're hiding the fact that they were staying in contact with people, and they did not.
Well, and it seems if they had continued to inform, that they should be able to produce documentation of that.
Exactly.
Beth Bowling still believes the AG's office failed Joyce Slade, the true victim in all of this.
That was totally ignored. There was no pointing out the treatment of the elderly, you know, how somebody who's compromised. She has severe dementia. She could not protect herself, and they took advantage of that.
For the past month, we tried to schedule an interview with Attorney General Alan Wilson to allow him to explain to these victims and to the public why his office dropped everything in Marlboro County. Wilson refused to schedule time with us.
Yeah, he didn't have time to, you know, take a little bit of accountability. But he certainly had time to go to a handshake meeting, rub up against people that are gonna benefit his re-election. You know, that kind of fucking bullshit. Survive says, I'm my mother's caregiver who has dementia. I'm doing her laundry as I watch this, and this infuriates me. I feel your pain, Survive. I definitely know what that's like.
Instead, his spokesman sent us a statement. We are legally very limited on what we can say to address your questions. In the case against Sheriff Charles Lemon and Andrew Cook, we worked closely with the U.S. Attorney's Office in deciding to move forward on federal charges. We dismissed our charges once the U.S. Attorney indicted on theirs.
Okay, hold on a second, though. He's saying we are legally very limited on what we can say to address your questions. What's the legal limitation that's preventing them from saying something? Because it says that they dismissed the charges. So, like, what would stop you from being able to talk about this? The charges are dismissed, case closed. So you can talk about it. I don't understand.
Charges against Tammy Bullock were dismissed. By law, we cannot give out any additional details. All the statutory victims in that case were kept informed. Our office talked to them numerous times throughout the process and let them know about the dismissal. By law, we are not allowed to release that paperwork. As for why we did not prosecute anyone else in the Hollis Slade case, we didn't have enough evidence to prove any charges beyond a reasonable doubt.
Okay. I need to know what law this is. Can someone tell me that? What law in South Carolina prevents them from releasing documents on a dismissed case?
Due to the legal limitations, we will not be responding to further inquiries about these cases.
Yeah,
Together we
like
fought
bullshit.
to keep people safe, uphold the rule of law.
In late June, Wilson announced his run for governor, and the following day he went to local news stations campaigning, including Queen City News.
Look at him.
And that's where we found him.
Oh,
Hey, Mr.
gotcha.
Wilson. How are you? How are you doing? Why did your office abandon the state prosecutions of Sheriff Charles Lemon and Deputy Andrew Cook?
Well, Jody, I've got 8,000 cases right now, and I understand that you had asked about those. Our office gave you a statement. I can't talk specifically to the facts of those cases because I'm not familiar with them, but everything our office told you that we legally can tell you, we have told you legally. I hope you have a good day.
Why can't you tell the people of South Carolina why you chose to do this?
Why can't
Jody,
you
as
tell
again,
the people of South Carolina why you don't just shave
The
your
answer
head?
was there's some things we can legally say, things we can't legally say. I'm not privy to the specific facts of that case.
Well, how about this? The victims
He doesn't even know about the facts of the case. So how is he even talking about it right now? How does he even know that anything that he's saying is justified if he has no idea what the fucking case is about? He's not privy to the facts, so he just can't talk, he can't say anything about it. He has 8,000 cases. That's not even that much in a fucking, you know, at the attorney general level. I'm sure if you compare that to other states that it's, yeah. Thomas Taylor says he's a paid actor. Basically, it looks like that's exactly what he is. Getting chauffeured around in a brand new Tahoe CST that the people of South Carolina paid for.
The Hollis Slade case say that you...
To get in there, pump two.
South Carolina's top prosecutor
Oh my God, how many
claims
times did they
he
tase
wasn't
this
privy
guy?
to the facts in a case where his own office indicted and helped remove a sitting sheriff. The AG's entourage was in such a rush to get out of here. They're going to leave you. They almost left the staff behind. The victims say you never contacted them. All right. Well, that's the best we could do. Wilson and his crew never slowed down as they hurried
That sure
out
is a
of our
nice
parking
Tahoe,
lot.
isn't it?
Do you think the fact that Tammy Bullock was a public official carried any weight through the course of this investigation and then ultimately the ending of the prosecution?
Absolutely. I'm just so disheartened and disappointed in that system. And Jody, one of the things that really concerns me about that is our situation can't be the only one.
If you
Oh, it's
can't get
definitely not the
justice
only one.
with a mountain of video evidence,
Yeah,
I don't know
somebody
when
needs
you
to check his
can.
window tint.
Just a few days ago, a judge's expungement order was carried out on Tammy Bullock's case files. The order commanded the Marlboro County Clerk of Court to destroy every record related to the former deputy probate judge's weapon and theft prosecutions. The same thing happened with Charlotte Green's theft case a few months ago. This all stems from the deals those women made with Attorney General Alan Wilson's office. Now, 4 years after we first rolled into Marlboro County and uncovered everything we dug up there, the state of South Carolina has ended every one of those prosecutions, and our final disrespects investigation is now final.
Wow. So first of all, shout out to Jody Barr. I'm going to subscribe to him right now. I didn't even know about this guy, but this is good journalism. You know, we were talking about journalistic integrity and quality earlier. This is exactly the kind of shit I'm looking for. Someone who went through the trouble to dig through all of the documents, did their research, talked to the right people, whether or not they wanted to be talked to. He got the door slam treatment several times. Yeah, can't say enough good things about Jody.
Oh,
this guy right here is awesome. I recommend you guys go and subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. This is quality journalism right here. And if you guys could drop me a like too, I would sincerely appreciate that. So, I mean, I think it's good. And I think that we should branch out with these live streams and do, cover stuff like this too, where we can look at quality journalism, even if it's not directly from a police interaction. Sorry, I'm running over my cord. All right, what are you guys talking about? Survive says, I don't believe there are any. He's a paralegal, a legal interpreter, and I've never heard of such limitations besides privilege. You must be talking about why they didn't release those documents. If I cross my eyes, the reporter looks a bit like Southern Law Draw. Yeah, he does kind of look like him. Let's pull him up. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Now I got this. So if you guys don't know James White from Southern Draw Law, I highly recommend you check him out. Here's his face. And he does kind of look like this guy a little bit. Got the same style going on. Rusty, you're welcome, brother. I see your chats. You're welcome, man. We were talking about you earlier. If you rewind, you'll see what we were talking about. But yeah, if you guys don't know James from Southern Draw Law, then check him out. He's a very good, he's an attorney, and he's a very good resource for learning about things. And his channel is very much in the same vein as like the John Bryan from the Civil Rights Lawyer. Philip says he watches James. You guys should check it out. Let's see. We had a couple more police interactions on here, I believe.
All right, guys.
Oh my God, this is 45 minutes long. And rightfully so. You guys want to watch a 45-minute audit? I don't think anyone does. Let's see.
how to change the thumbnail in a YouTube short
Oh yeah, I
even
saw
after
this.
you've uploaded it.
I don't know
Let's get
why. Let's see. I'm gonna call you out here. Jeremiah TWP tells me I need to watch how to change my YouTube thumbnails. I don't know if you guys don't like my thumbnails or what, but I know how to change them, guys. I don't need to fucking see this video about it. Jesus. Yeah, if you guys have a video you want me to check out, just link it in the chat and I'll watch it. But for right now, I kind of want to, I'll just throw on this documentary for a second in a minute. Rojai says multiple times I've seen thumbnails change within the same day. Yeah, the YouTube has this feature where you can upload 2 different thumbnails at the same time, and basically they'll pick whichever one performs better over the course of the video. I've tried to be there was a point where I was getting kind of clickbaity with the ATA stuff. And so, but lately I've tried to rein it back in a little bit and be a little more, true to what the video's about. Not that they weren't ever that, but like they were just a little more loose than they are now. Mr. Garbage says he cooked you, bro. He did cook me with that. That was good. That was clever. All right. I guess we'll watch this. Would you guys prefer to watch the documentary or the audit that we have right here? Or if we have something else in general, we could watch that. Excuse me. I'm interested in videos of all links. So if you guys have one that you want me to check out, just link it and I'll check it out. Yeah, I'm always interested in looking at James Madison's stuff. He's a good auditor as well. He used to be a police officer too. Why don't we just go to his channel and just see what he's posted lately? Oh my god, if it don't stop taking away that. Get this video out of my face. Jesus Christ. Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that. Also, I like your BMW logo, dude. Big fan of BMW. It's great. They make great cars. Yeah, if you guys could drop a like, I would sincerely appreciate it. It'll help us reach some more people. All right, let's see what he's got up here. Everybody's seen this a month ago. Man, I wonder what happened 10 days ago versus a month ago. Yeah, he took a little break. All right, Survive. Go cook for your peeps. Appreciate you being here. Look, I hope you come back. Before you go, I just want to say that the next live will probably be on Tuesday at some point. I don't know what time yet. We'll just have to see. Let's see. Vintage Karen. Cop arrests. Oh, cop gets arrested for excessive force. Is this the 8-minute video you're talking about? Oh wait, hold on.
That's enough. I'm done. Either you no, take.
We are about to watch this officer, Jacob Ryan Cannon, come unglued for this woman who would not sit down.
That's a nice little
I've done several
room.
DUI investigations. I would have treated this as a refusal, and I'll jump back in just a little bit to tell you where that refusal should have been applied.
Feel free to link the video you were wanting to watch, Pariah.
No, I'm talking to her.
If you want to, she can sit in here too. Like I said, go see right here, this right here for me, okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
So again, this is a fresh breath piece, okay?
That's fine.
Place it here.
Did he say why she was arrested or anything like that?
Alright. So what you want to do is take a deep breath in.
Rusty, I've seen you, brother. I see you.
Breath out and then just twice, okay? You're letting all breath house.
DUI? It's a DUI arrest. Oh, I can hear the breath test right now. I should have known that sound. Oh, she was involved in an accident as well. Okay.
It appears that one successful breath sample was taken, and you can see the duration that it took to do it.
Yeah, it looks like it's taking a long time to do a breath test. I'm 2xing it right now, by the way.
I think it's like proving what the right now.
It's cleared the system out
No,
for
wait.
and then you'll put it about a second.
Are you serious right now?
I can barely hear what he's saying.
You just can't help to be fucking proved wrong, can you? No, you can't.
She's saying that they're getting proved wrong. What I think is happening right here is that, yeah, I haven't seen this video, by the way. I don't think that she's taking the test properly, or either that, or she's the device itself is not properly calibrated or is having issues, and so she's now saying, well, you guys can't stand being wrong about whether or not I'm drunk.
You just can't be proved wrong, can you? No matter what, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't.
For about 2 minutes, the woman berates him about the arrest, calling him a coward and other expletives. And then when the breath test is ready to take its second sample, she says F you, and that should have been that.
No, are you a fucking coward or not? No, he's a coward. You. Coward.
She's being difficult, yes, but she's not doing anything illegal.
You guys are pathetic. Just like you did the first time. You're pathetic. You know it. No, I don't have to do shit. I don't have to do shit.
If you refuse it, it's a felony, so go ahead.
Oh, okay, you didn't go anywhere, survive. Good to have you.
Put your mouth on the piece, please.
Okay, we can hear that she's not taking the test correctly. You don't... That's not how you blow into a PBT. Bro, just give up. You're not going to get a breath test.
Maybe you're wrong. Do you ever think about that? Did you ever think about that? No. Did you ever think about that? You're fucking wrong? Because you don't even know because you're a fucking bitch. That's what.
Alright, I'm just going to say it seems like she's drunk. I don't know if that's my drunk radar going off again, but yeah.
So this is the point that I would say this would be a refusal. When you're a BTO or a breath test operator, you know exactly when people are playing games, whether they're putting their tongue right up against the nozzle so they can't get air in there. But I would have done this one as a refusal right at this point when it was like the fourth attempt and say, hey, I'm going to give you one last opportunity to blow. The officer didn't perform these breath tests properly. You have to blow until I tell you to stop. And then when you do have the person blow, you tell them blow, keep going, blow, keep going, blow. And that's just what you want to do so that your instructions are clear. In this one here, I don't believe that the officer gave those clear instructions. But this,
keep in mind, this James Madison knows what he's talking about. He used to be a police officer, so I mean, if he's saying this, I would definitely give deference to his opinion about it.
This would have been a refusal all day long and sent her on her way instead of getting amped up like this right here.
Alright, so when this thing resets, you'll have to blow into the device correctly. Okay?
I'll be ready. Okay, let's do it.
So you make this over.
Yeah, I'm ready. You little bitch. Wait, you turn the what off? What? No. Why did you turn it off?
Oh, she's getting scared now.
What did you turn off?
Radio off.
What?
My radio. Sit, please.
That's not my fault, we can't.
You're almost done. You're almost done.
That's enough. I'm done. Either you take me to go piss, or I'm fucking done. No! Take me!
Okay, that was totally uncalled for.
I
Yeah, Thomas says charges dropped. Yeah. Oh, and he now he nicely sits her down on the bench. Oh, he's being real gentle with her now. Yeah, that was fucked up and totally uncalled for. I mean, dude, keep your shit together. This is your whole job. Your whole job is to not get mad in situations like that. That's like the whole point of you having a job. You're being paid to not react this way to people. That's part of it. That's like a big part of your responsibility as an officer, is to care about the people that are the most deplorable people in our society. So, I mean, this is inexcusable. He knows he fucked up. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
He looks like that meme. I don't even know what it's called. You guys know the meme with the guy's face and he's got like the long curly hair? This looks exactly like that meme. But yeah, that is... Yeah, he's got like 100 pounds at least on this lady. Yes, my mod. The JD Vance edits. He looks just like... Hold on, let me see. Tell me that's not this guy. Look at that. That's funny. I might have gotten deported from that.
He was arrested. Essentially, the arrest came about a month later. Currently, he's facing these felony battery charges. We're going to be attending the court hearing on the next one if it does make it there. The woman's charges are still pending. She has stitches on her face, and it was a pretty bad injury. I think she needed about 6 stitches. This officer does have a pretty extensive history in law enforcement. He was a correctional officer in Georgia and as well a police officer, and I believe maybe even a deputy sheriff. I'll have to take a look at that up in Georgia, and then he comes down here to Ormond Beach Police Department. So I did try to find out some of the reasons why he ended up in Ormond Beach, Florida. Apparently his wife took a job, but when I tried to get his background check, the city of Ormond Beach hid it from me. Let me show you what they gave me, and let me show you what I found from his previous job and the application that they provided there. Have you ever been arrested or charged, even as a juvenile, with any criminal violation? If yes, write a detailed account of each event.
Okay, how do you justify this? Look, okay. You can't, as a public entity, like a government, hire in someone to serve the public and then claim that their sketchy background is a personnel matter. That, like, you know, it's something that the public doesn't need to know about. As if this is some kind of private information. First of all, we don't know what the criminal charge is. I don't know what this FS 43509 is, but I'm assuming that that's the statute that they're using as justification to block this out, not the statute that, you know, he's describing and what is redacted. So I just don't see how you could, you know, and there's probably some kind of legal structure for this that allows them to do. Obviously there is. They have this statute, but my point is this should be a matter of public interest. Whether or not somebody... Oh, Rusty. Hold on. I gotta stop this for a second. Rusty, please don't give me your money, man. Do not donate $500 to me. I don't need it. You need it, man. You and your family need it. You keep that money. All of that GoFundMe money was meant for you, and that's who should get it. So please don't donate any of your money here. But getting back to this, you look, this kind of shit, the background of the people that are working in government should be a matter of public interest. That's what I'm trying to say. The fact that we even have a law that allows this to be redacted is fucking bullshit.
And you can see that they blacked it all out. They hid his criminal background that he provided to the city. If we take a look at the one that I retrieved from McDonough, Georgia, he said he had the answer to the Spalding County Juvenile Court on allegations of juvenile battery from my stepsister. I'm not sure if he wrote that correctly, but it looks like he was charged with this crime, according to what he had wrote down.
Okay, so this changes it a little bit because, now he's saying that this was a crime that occurred when he was a juvenile, which could have been sealed. We're still progressing through this video, so we don't know yet, but maybe that's the justification for hiding this, but I still don't think that that's legit. I think that if there's ever a time where someone wants to go and work in law enforcement, they should be willing to let their entire criminal history be known, whether it happened when they were a kid or not, and then let people make decisions based on that, regardless of, whether or not it's sealed. I think that that should just be something that you should have to sacrifice a certain degree of privacy by becoming a public official. And this is one of the things that you should have to give up.
And I'll let you pause this and read the rest. I'm not sure if you read what I read there, but he listed his stepmother first for someone who had battered and pestered him when he was younger. This would have been a hard pass for a hire. You got to look at the psychological background of someone to make sure that someone in a position of power doesn't have these issues that could circle back and they could take it out on a woman. Handcuffed. Thanks for watching, liking, and subscribing. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, wow. That's insane that they even hired that guy. Like, what the hell? Oh, I shouldn't have closed that. Pariah. Okay, let's talk about it. What are you guys talking about? I think he tried tampering with evidence and lied about the severity of the situation. Well, that may have been the case. I don't think that was what was said here, but Friendly Henry says he is adult now, so that shouldn't count. Yeah, he is an adult, and not only is he an adult, he's a public official. Walker Works says the cop should not have the right to make people exit. Okay. For a cop, he has a long rap sheet. I don't know. Maybe not. That might be a pretty average rap sheet compared to some of these. The standards, Jay Abate says, the standards are so low in law enforcement and especially corrections. Well, I think the reason that standards are so low when it comes to corrections in particular is because no one wants to do that fucking job. That job sucks. And you don't get paid as much as a cop. You don't have any of the same benefits as a cop. In most, I maybe even venture to say all states, just because you're a correctional official doesn't mean you have any law enforcement authority. They have that baked into a whole separate industry. So most of the time you don't have any post certification or anything like that. They're just regular people who get a crash course in how to handle prisoners, and that's it. Johnny Death says, I want to see a federal bill so that every state requires a 2-year degree just to be a patrolman. Yeah, I agree with that. And there's the case to be made for that because that's how they do it in many other countries. We're one of the few countries that have such low standards for training when it comes to police officers. Pariah says, it's not just that, it's that the least qualified of us go to positions like that. If you were smart enough to be a doctor, you'd be a doctor, and it trickles down. Yeah, that's a very good point. Certain jobs in certain industries are kind of cut out for certain kinds of people. And a correction officer is not one that requires an education by any means. So, yeah, I could definitely see that. Bill Thomas asks if corrections officers have qualified immunity. They are still government employees, and qualified immunity applies to all government employees, not just police officers. It is the most often used in reference to police officers, but if you're somehow wronged by a politician or some other public representative, they could also say, well, I want to invoke qualified immunity, and that would be an option for them. The prize says Department of Corrections and police is no skill required. They'll teach you what they need to, which is kind of true. It's essentially how it works. But a lot of times, especially in a lot of different states, you actually have to go to the police academy first before you get a job. And there's been a move in the industry where they're kind of moving away from paying in-house for your training. So unless you've already been hired on for the department, if you don't have any training, they're not going to hire you. You have to go and then pay a police academy money to attend the academy. Then you get the credentials, and then you can apply for the job. Basically like the same streamline as any other career path that requires education. AJ says, it takes 4 years to be a hairdresser or a chef, but a cop, a few weeks of brainwashing. Yeah, it's kind of silly that we do have higher standards for people who do hair than we do police officers. That's like, what? AJ says qualified immunity should absolutely be gone. And yeah, I agree with that to a degree. The thing is like, it's not that qualified immunity itself is a bad concept, because the original intent behind qualified immunity was to shield people who actually made honest mistakes on the job. I'm sure there are situations where someone's rights have been violated, or they lost their life as a result of a genuine mistake on behalf of an officer or some other public official. And in that case, I think we do need some degree of qualified immunity, where if there is a legitimate cause to use it, then yeah. But the problem is that we have taken, the courts and us as a society have taken the concept of qualified immunity and blown it up into this blanket coverall for any kind of misconduct that happens. And then, with the way the Supreme Court has interpreted qualified immunity, it's insanely specific. It's so hyper specific that it's almost impossible to find a scenario where you couldn't invoke it in. So it's not necessarily that qualified immunity is a bad concept. It's just being used poorly by the courts. Let's see. Eric says the clearly established right clause of qualified immunity is where most bonkers cases occur. I agree with that. And the idea of anything being clearly established to the courts means that it has to have happened exactly the way it happened in this particular situation. If there's even a minute difference between what they have granted qualified immunity for in the past and what's happened and what they're looking at right in front of them, they're automatically going to grant qualified immunity, and that's the most bullshit part of it. Pariah says, imagine if you lost qualified immunity if you purposely disabled your body cam or didn't follow policy or did anything else you weren't supposed to. Cops would avoid doing stuff like that. Stuff like that if like it was the plague. Which is, yeah, I agree. At this point, and maybe, you could largely attribute some of this to the auditing community, that cops are now hyper aware of qualified immunity as a concept and what it means. It's been brought into the societal spotlight over the past couple of years. So they definitely know about it. They understand what it is and how to use it. And, I don't know. I won't go as far as saying that they keep that in mind during every police interaction they have, but I think that they know in general that qualified immunity is a pretty strong protector for them. Peter says qualified immunity is why I don't like common law. No legislator was involved in creating it. Yeah, that's a good point. Unfortunately, though, This is like a product of democracy. And this is a product of how we have decided as a nation to divide our country into 3 different branches of government. And this is what happens when one of them gets to run wild and do whatever the fuck they want. You get shit like this. Sleep Forever says, how can it be so specific if you can invoke it so broadly? Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? Let's see. Thomas says that qualified immunity is a weapon of last resort. Oftentimes it's a weapon of first resort for them. I mean, like, you know, sometimes they do things knowing that they can get away with it. And qualified immunity is a big contributor to that cultural belief system. Pariah says, what's the point of having 3 branches of checks and balances what's the point of having 3 divisions of government if the checks and balances doesn't work out? Which is kind of what we're going through right now, you know? Justin Hall says, imagine a police officer suddenly has to get behind a customer service desk somewhere. What would that look like? Yeah, and that's something that I talk about a lot too, is that police officers don't realize that they actually work in a service industry. They're a public service. Keyword, service. So imagine if you got the quality of service that you get from police officers in literally any other industry. The only reason that they can get away with giving such bad service is because there is no alternative. There's no competition. It's the government. That's it. Steve said something up here. I want to go back to that. He said qualified immunity in its practice is anathema to freedom. Anathema to freedom. As are fusion centers. Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more. It is kind of the opposite of freedom in a lot of ways. Friendly Henry says, welcome to McDonald's. Stop resisting. That's really funny. That's a good one. Thomas says, make everyone serve as a police officer, like forced conscription. I think that would make it worse. Because then imagine a cop who doesn't want to be a cop having to be a cop. That sounds like the worst kind of person. All right. I think I got time for one more video to go over with you guys. But let me just find something interesting. I'm trying to think if there was anything interesting. Let's see. Oh, Honor Your Oath just uploaded a video. Let's check that out. We'll watch this and then I'll probably end the stream after this one.
If I'm free to go, have a nice day.
You're not free to go.
So I'm being detained.
Temporarily.
For what reason? What's your reasonable articulable
Because
suspicion?
I'm conducting an investigation.
Based on what? What am I doing that's
I'm
illegal?
conducting an investigation.
What's your
and
reasonable?
my badge says that I can. Can you shut up long enough for me to finish talking?
Well, that's not very nice.
I don't give a damn.
Way back in November of
We
2014,
will check out Siberian Tiger
the
eventually.
late great
He's
Epic
great.
Old Guy and I were conducting First Amendment audits in the Quincy, Florida area when we spotted unsupervised state inmates washing what appeared to be personal vehicles of prison staff in the parking lot of the Quincy Correctional Institution. As we stood on the public sidewalk off of prison property, documenting the inmates washing the personal
Thank you for stopping by, Steve.
prison staff called the police. A short time later, an officer with the Quincy Police Department arrived, along with some deputies from the Gadsden County Sheriff's Department. Despite the fact that we were engaged in constitutionally protected activity on a public sidewalk, Thomas and I were unlawfully detained for more than 2 hours. This First Amendment audit exposed one of the most arrogant and petulant law enforcement officers in the history of YouTube.
Oh, that's a big claim coming from Jeff Gray, saying that this is one of the most petulant officers in the history of YouTube, because he is basically the history of YouTube.
Hey, officer, how are you? Officer, what's your name?
Barber.
Officer Barber. You're Quincy? I thought they called county.
They called both of us.
I'm just out here taking photos out in public, that's all.
The prison?
Yes, sir.
Are you taking?
Yeah, there's inmates right there. I saw them washing this vehicle.
Are you taking pictures of?
I'm a journalist gathering content for stories. It's investigative journalism.
You got a ID on you?
What type of ID would you mean?
Driver's license, any type of ID. What's your name and date of birth?
Well, let me explain to you. I'm standing on a public sidewalk, taking photos out in public.
And that's fine. I asked you for your ID.
I understand, but if I'm not being detained, I'm not going to produce any identification.
Well, sir, you need to move along there. Like you said, this is city property, so you need to move along. City right away.
What would happen if I don't move along?
You go to jail.
For what?
Okay, what? Where did cops get this idea? Like, is this how bad they're trained? Where do they get this idea that they just get to dictate who can stand on public property? Now, granted, I don't know if he's actually on public property. I don't know this area. If I were to do an episode of ATA about this, I would pull up the Google Maps of this exact place, try to figure out where exactly he was standing, whether or not there was a sidewalk there, what are the policies and things like that related to this building. Because if it is a jail, there could be extra scrutiny in regards to the First Amendment. So, you know, there's a lot of factors that could influence whether or not he actually technically is in public and is in a place where he has the right to express himself. But regardless, like I see this all the time in police interactions where police officers just think that they get to dictate who can be on public property. Sandy says it's built on an attitude of, it's built-in attitude. I've heard one say many times, I don't have to follow the law. I am the law. Yeah. Image says, it's because 99.9% of the time people comply with whatever they say. And I think that's really what it is that they're so used to just being able to come up and say, get out of here, and people listen, that they just think that they have that authority. And that's just not the case.
For what?
Yes.
Because I've actually moved along. You taking pictures of a facility that...
Is that illegal?
We don't know if you're staging a breakout.
I'm not staging a breakout. I told you I'm a journalist gathering.
And then at this point, it's loitering because I actually find that you can't produce anything. You had to produce anything.
He says it's loitering because he asked him to leave and he didn't. That's not loitering. That's not what loitering is.
Taking pictures of a facility that houses inmates.
Right. I've explained to you I'm an investigative journalist gathering content for story.
I need your ID showing that.
And I have no obligation to prove to you who I am.
Yes, you do.
If I'm not being detained, I'm gonna say,
have a nice day.
You have a nice day.
Okay, did he say what state this is in? He doesn't add. I didn't catch what state he said this was in.
You're free to go.
13 to 109. If you could be in Rock, please.
Are you actually?
Who's that over there?
Are you trying to trespass me from the public sidewalk?
No, I'm asking you to walk along. Keep moving.
I'm not gonna keep moving.
That sounds like a request to me.
I got a job to do, so I'm out here to do my job. I appreciate if you didn't. I appreciate if you didn't interfere and obstruct with my rights.
I can't tell if he's standing on a sidewalk or if he's like in an easement. Mitch, thank you for the $2, brother. I'll see you on the next live stream, which will be Tuesday. Tune in.
Oh, he got a scanner. That's why he knows he's coming.
I'm a journalist. Journalists have scanners.
Thomas said, I think he said it was North Korea. No, I think you're right, dude.
Right? I mean, that's what journalists do. We have scanners. We know what's going on.
Oh, he has a police scanner in his pocket.
This is constitutionally protected activity, safeguarded by the First Amendment. I have every right to do this.
You from Florida?
I'm not answering any questions.
Because if you're from Florida, you should know that Florida also requires everybody to have identification.
What? This is ridiculous. And I hate it when cops do this. He's straight up talking out of his ass right here. He claims, okay, first of all, his name's Officer Barber. And he's trying to claim that Florida state law requires everyone to have an ID on them, even if they're not driving a car. That's kind of silly. Imagine if we lived in that kind of world where you must have your papers on you at all times. That's fucking retarded.
It's just state law.
So you have to have identification on you at all times?
It's state law. Look it up.
He's a lieutenant in the sheriff's office?
Yeah. Even better. All right. How are you? Yeah. Lieutenant, right? Sir. He had to take a picture of the prison and inmates. Don't want to produce ID. Why are you doing that, sir? Verify who he is.
I've explained to the officers.
No, explain it to me.
And I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing is I'm a journalist gathering content for a story. Investigative journalist gathering content for a story. And beyond that, investigative journalist gathering content for a story. And if I'm not being detained, I'm not going to produce any ID. It's none of y'all's business who I am. It's none of y'all's business what I'm doing. It's an investigative story.
You need to produce something. Don't tell me it's none of my business. You had to taking pictures of a correctional facility.
That's right.
And we want to know why.
And I was taking pictures of the inmates, right? I've just explained to you why. I'm an investigative journalist gathering content for a story.
But you produce the investigative journalist ID as well. This is my identification. A number I can call, or something?
Like I said, it's none of your business. Unless I'm being detained, I'm not producing any ID. And as a matter of fact, if I'm free to go, have a nice day. Am I free to go?
No, you're not free to go.
I'm not free to go.
Oh,
so I'm being detained.
Now he's officially detained. And here's the thing, like something I want to say about detainments for anyone who may not know is that the moment an officer does something that you reasonably perceive as restricting your movement, then that becomes a detention. So you don't have to be put in handcuffs. You don't have to be, taken into the back of a patrol car to be considered detained. He just said you're being detained, and that's all it takes. He doesn't even have to explicitly say that. If you're walking down the street and an officer orders you to stop, that is going to be a detainment. If he tells you, I'm issuing you a lawful order to stop, you're officially detained from that moment. So, and then the Fourth Amendment kicks in and all of these, your constitutional rights apply to the situation. So just bear that in mind if you're ever interacting with police yourself. They don't have to put you in handcuffs to detain you. They can just detain you by saying you're detained. And not even saying you're detained, by just telling you to stop doing whatever you're doing and listen to what they're telling you.
No, sir, I need to see my ID.
Okay, well, if I'm not being detained, have a nice day.
I need to see my ID.
Sir, I'm either being detained or I'm free to go.
You're actually committing obstruction right now by not giving us an ID.
Okay, what's going to happen if I don't produce ID at this point? What will happen?
I'm waiting on that.
I'm not refusing.
Or standing on the sidewalk.
He was alleged to have been in the parking lot. Now, I personally didn't see it. I didn't see it, so I don't know what.
Okay, that's kind of an important thing if there are allegations of him being in the parking lot, especially if this is a correctional facility, because like I said before, there are reasonable limitations that can be placed on a place like this as far as your First Amendment rights go. This could certainly be seen as a non-public forum due to the security nature of this location. So this allegation could be relatively important in dictating, the constitutionality of this whole interaction. If there are if someone called the police and said, we saw Jeff Gray in the parking lot of this facility taking photos, and they have posted conspicuous signs that are saying that this is a non-public forum, essentially, that it's a secured area, that could have a dramatic impact on how the constitutional analysis is done in the courts.
When I came out and encountered him, he was on the side.
Am I being detained or am I free to go? It's one or the other.
No, I need to see my ID.
Officer. I'm sorry, Lieutenant.
He's already been detained.
Exact same subject did this exact same thing on you.
Right, this is
comical, and then he wants to write about it, and this is...
It's because you guys are infringing on my First Amendment rights. This is a public sidewalk. This is constitutionally protected activity. I've explained to you that I'm a journalist.
And you never stepped foot off the sidewalk?
I have never stepped foot off the sidewalk.
You would have an ID tag you would have something.
I do have an ID tag, but what I'm telling you is it's none of your business. I'm not producing ID unless I'm being detained.
For security purposes, yes.
Okay, first of all, let me clarify this. You don't have to have an ID tag to be a member of the press. I have a degree in journalism. I worked in the industry of journalism for quite a while. There is no distinction between me as a journalist and you watching this right now. We have the exact same rights to do the exact same things. And just because I have a degree in journalism doesn't give me any privileges to do anything that you can't already do. So this is a common misconception, not just among the police, but among regular people too, that journalists somehow have like some kind of exclusive access. There are some situations where journalists do have exclusive access, like for example in the White House, there's a press process for that, but only because it is a secured facility. It's still, you know, operating under the same legal frameworks as what we're dealing with here. So to say that you need to see a press pass or something like that is nonsense, and it just comes from a place of ignorance.
There's also a gentleman, he recorded down there. Yeah, he's recording right down the road. He has a
Am I free to go?
No, you're not free to go.
So I'm being detained.
You're not free to go?
I'm not free to go.
Okay, this is not a public building.
That's not a public building.
It's not
That's a state correctional institution, man.
Okay,
You're Tiffany
and for
Parsons?
Yes, Tiffany Parsons.
What's your badge number?
37, Gadsden County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you.
Phone number 627-9233. And if you need anything further, I can give it to you.
Relax.
This is a security issue.
If I was a cop, I wouldn't just be throwing out the phone number to my department in a First Amendment auditor's video. You're asking for that at that point.
Because
this is a First Amendment issue. This is a constitutionally protected right, safeguarded by the First Amendment.
Once you come off the sidewalk, it's a security
I've never been off the sidewalk. Have you seen me off the sidewalk? Have you witnessed me on their property?
Videotapes. Can
Go
you guys
request
get a
it.
sergeant or a lieutenant and let's just view the videotapes?
I have my chief of security in there.
Okay, because if you step
I never stepped off the sidewalk.
we have a big issue.
I never stepped foot off the sidewalk.
And what she's saying here could totally be true.
If I'm free to go, have a nice day.
You're not free to go.
So I'm being detained.
Temporarily.
For what reason? What's your reasonable articulable
Because I'm
suspicion?
conducting an investigation.
Based on what? What am I doing that's
I'm
illegal?
conducting an investigation.
What's your
and
reasonable?
my badge says that I can.
What's your reasonable?
The petulance. There it is. It's pouring through the camera right now. Because my badge says I can. That's a statement that no officer should ever make. Why don't you try actually just justifying the stop with some legitimate facts?
Articulable suspicion.
Be quiet.
What is your reasonable articulable
I'm
suspicion?
conducting an investigation.
Based on
I'm
what?
conducting an investigation based on a potential security issue.
Potential security issue.
Potential security issue. That's right.
I've explained
Until
to you.
I see the tapes.
Okay, so this point here, I just want to push back a little bit on this because he's right. It's not illegal for the public to step foot onto the publicly accessible areas of the correctional facility. But that doesn't mean that it's legal to record on in that place. So because he's recording now, and he's been recording from the beginning of making contact with the officers, there's a reasonable inference to be made that if he did enter the parking lot, he may have been recording at the time. So her logic is not entirely flawed here, although she's being a catty bitch about it. She's still kind of right. If there was a call made and an allegation that he was recording, then this very well could have been a justified detention, but of course we don't have all that information. So I just want to point that out and make it so if any of you guys decide to go do this, that, you just bear this in mind, that the rules around recording a secured facility are different.
I have right to see the tapes, and after I see the tapes...
So you're going to detain me until you see the tapes?
Can you shut up long enough for me to finish talking?
Well, that's not very nice.
Wow.
I don't give a damn.
Okay.
Until I see the videotapes, I am officially conducting an investigation. Once I view them and I see that you never step foot on this property, you are free to go.
What's your reasonable articulable suspicion that I stepped foot on that property? What's your reasonable articulable suspicion that I've committed a crime?
This woman does not have the attitude or the patience.
Did you
to
take
be
an
a
oath to uphold and
police
defend the
officer.
Constitution of the United States, ma'am? Are you aware that this is a First Amendment right? Are you remaining silent?
I am pleading the fifth. How about that? Isn't that great?
That's great.
I can't drive because I have nerve damage.
We've got your white vehicle from St. Johns County, and I have all of your driver's license information.
She's telling him this just to intimidate him. And I imagine that throughout this 2 hours, there was a lot more of this kind of shit right here, where she's like, well, we got your information now, buddy. Guess what? We know who you are. As if like he's not a public figure with 300,000 YouTube subscribers and literally anyone could know who he is. You know, this is not a very strong intimidation tactic, even though this is what she's trying to do.
License is in fact disqualified. Now that I have both of your information, the warden of this property wants you officially trespassed. Do both parties understand and acknowledge that you are trespassed from this property from this point forward? I have a property receipt for you, sir, because your phone was found and I'm turning it over to you.
Okay.
Here is your property receipt. Glad to get that back to you. Glad we could identify both of you. You have officially been trespassed from the property again. I'm iterating that for a second, third, and fourth time.
I've trespassed?
You are trespassed, Mr. Thomas James Covenant and Mr. Jeffrey Gray from St. Johns County, St. Augustine. You're trespassed as well. Okay?
She really thinks she's doing something here, doesn't she? She thinks that she's doing, like, getting him somehow by saying his information publicly. All she's doing is making herself look like a complete asshole.
So go ahead and go back to your car and put the keys in there.
The female Gaston County Sheriff's deputy said that my license was disqualified, and she basically dared me to go get in my car, start it up, and drive off. Well, look what I'm doing. She's sitting across the street watching us.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna get her too this way.
Let's go see, have a word with her.
She's driving a Camaro? Why does the police department need this thing? Looks like a V6 Camaro too, which is like, what? What's the point of this? It just looks cool.
Just wanted to say bye. Have a good day. Driving my car. Have a good day, ma'am.
Wow. Man, Jeff Gray, a living legend. She spent more time investigating who they were than she did investigating the suspicion of a crime. That's very true, Electric. Someone else was driving the tank that day. Yeah, probably so. They had to stick her in the shitty old Camaro. Dark Brandon says the rims help protect and serve. Yeah. I'm sure the burnouts they do all the time probably help protect and serve as well. Midas says the police academy trains them as if they are going to war. Then they equip them with vehicles and ammunition and weapons as if they are going to war. Yeah, I mean, obviously the militarization of police is a big topic that a lot of people have complaints about. And honestly, Trump has been one of the biggest proponents of militarizing the police. He earlier this year in his executive order on policing, which we can talk about in another stream, he remilitarized the police after Biden's executive order to take away their militarization, or at least the influx of surplus military equipment going to local police departments. That has been totally reversed, and now they're back to getting probably brand new military equipment that was never even used for anything, just spent as a matter of budget, you know, probably with the intention of eventually handing it off to a local department, you know. But yeah, there's no doubt about that. So Midas follows that up by saying, check out what the big beautiful bill does with ICE and how much money they're going to get. I can only imagine. I mean, Donald Trump has been very clear about his pro-police perspective, and he's done a lot of things to help them in many ways, unnecessarily. Rojai says that equipment's probably just gathering dust. Yeah, I'm sure that they buy it, park it, and then wait for a local department to request it. All right, guys. I think I pushed this about as far as I can go today. Unless somebody wants to link a video, I think we're going to clear it out and come back here on Tuesday. I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you guys donating. And if you could leave a like, I would sincerely appreciate it. Yeah, this chat has been really awesome. You guys are great to feed off of. This has been like a great back and forth between you guys. Priya asks, what's my take on Kansas City audit? That's the guy who does the silent audits in front of banks, I believe. I think. I'll give you my quick opinion on him and then we'll get out of here. First of all, I don't think it's a good idea to involve private citizens in an audit. You know, they're not the target of the transparency that the movement is seeking to establish. And while I do think that there is we should be educating people about, the right to record in public and stuff, I don't think that going and filming banks silently is the best way to do it. Okay, apparently I'm talking about the wrong guy. He's the one who answers to Ray Ray and Pookie. He's super polite. I don't think I've seen his stuff, or if I have, I don't remember it. It's not in my current lexicon, but I only have so much brain I can dedicate to remembering police interactions, Long Island audit, I think he's a good auditor. And I'm pretty sure he's like 10-0 in criminal cases against him, so that says a lot. Yeah, Kansas City accountability. That's right. It's not audit. That's who I was thinking of before, Pariah. Sorry about that. If you want me to check them out, though, go to the Audit the Audit subreddit. Again, I'll throw this up here. If you guys want me to, check anything out, then post it here. And this is a good way to just, if you happen to be watching something and you want me to check it out, come post it on the subreddit and I'll peruse through this every now and then on the live stream. Oh yeah, Inland Auditing is fantastic. He is one of the most well-informed auditors that there are. But yeah, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for taking the time to spend, these few hours of your Saturday with me and for donating and liking and just all of the support. I sincerely appreciate it. And I guess that's going to be all for today, guys. We'll see you on Tuesday. Probably going to go back to the 2 o'clock format on that one. So see you Tuesday, 2 o'clock Central Time. Thank you for being here. See you then. Cheers.